Good morning, Baton Rouge. It is 61 degrees outside. Highs of 77, low of 51 on this beautiful Tuesday. First hour of OTB, we're going to talk about the Pelicans firing David Griffin. Save your applause. And we're going to talk a little Aaron Rodgers to the Saints, potentially. Hour number one of OTB starts now.
Let's go, baby, let's go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
They said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Those bums are on vacation all week long. So we are here with you today, tomorrow, and Thursday. The entire building, well, we got off for Good Friday for, well, I think the first time since I've been here. But we are hanging out with you for the next 3 days. As Jordan so eloquently put it a few seconds ago, we're going to cover a lot of different topics today. We got Alondra Villarreal. We got Jordan Kitchens back there on the ones and twos. Guys, how we feeling this morning?
You know, it's another day to be alive. It's another day to be alive. So it's gotta take that for what it is. That sounded real deep. That sounded real deep. I ain't gonna lie. I was very sentimental. I was being very sentimental.
Good would have done just fine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I mean, we're apparently all flooding because of the river. So
facts.
The river's flooding.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? We might all perish tomorrow. So
okay.
I need an arc.
I need to go get my actual headphones. I don't like this. I read into so I went to go look on my weather app the other day. Or no, it was on Google Maps.
Yeah, definitely Google Maps.
I hate this. It was Google Maps and it said flood warning, and I was like, "What? This must be a glitch. There's no way. It's not even raining outside. This was
So
like on
crazy.
Saturday, right?"
mine did it on Saturday.
Yeah, and then I checked my weather app because I was like, "It's not even raining." So I checked the weather app, and the weather app is like flood warning, and I was like, "What is happening?" So then I Googled flood in Louisiana. The river's flooding because of all the rain in the Ohio River Valley, and I'm like, "How much rain did they get? How's it all the way down here?"
I didn't even know it rained that much in Ohio.
Remember a couple years ago, it was because of snow. Like a couple years ago, the snow melted and it came down.
But so then it's supposed to get, from what I read, it's supposed to get 49 inches or feet. 49 inches.
49
I feel like
inches
that
of
would
rain?
not be. Yeah, 49 feet. And the levee's like 58. So it should be fine.
I mean, I hope so.
So we're not flooding.
No, we need the arc. I've been saying we need the arc. We need to make an investment. What's going on here?
The
What are we
river's
doing?
flooding.
Okay. So we're flooding.
But the levee is keeping it in. So it's flooding. The levee's just keeping it in. That's
So it's doing its job.
Is my
like the
truck
whole
going to be
purpose of
washed
the
away
levee.
in the parking lot?
No.
I hope
Okay,
not.
well then we're good.
No.
We're
That's the
good.
whole purpose of the levee.
We're good.
You ever
To
had to
keep
deal
it
with the car
flooded.
insurance?
Yeah, we're good.
That's
Okay,
terrible.
I need to go get my headphones. I'll be right back.
All right, I want to lay out today's show. Londra was talking about Saturday. You had Google Maps up. I did too. Me and Victoria, we went out to the LSU beach volleyball for the first time. It's something I've wanted to do all year long. It seemed like a great vibe. It was. We're actually going to have Russell Brock, the LSU beach volleyball coach, on the show today at 9:30. Zach Nagy's going to hop on at 8:30. We're going to talk some LSU football. Could Brian Kelly dip into the spring transfer portal window? What positions is he maybe looking at? Nick Underhill joining us at his normal 9 a.m. spot. A little bit going on with the New Orleans Saints, all the Derek Carr news, a little pre-draft interview with our guy Nick as well. So we'll get into all of that. But as Jordan kind of laid out before the show started, wanted to start here with the New Orleans Pelicans. And before anybody freaks out saying, why in the hell would you start with the New Orleans Pelicans? Well, it's good news if you hate the people running the organization. The New Orleans Pelicans yesterday fired Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations David Griffin. New Orleans went 21-61 this year. That's the franchise's worst record in an 82-game season since the 2004-2005 season where they won only 18 games. You want a silver lining? What happened after 2004-2005? Well, they landed Chris Paul, and he was actually an okay player. So if you want to look at the silver lining, but Gail Benson released a statement. She said, after serious thought and evaluation, I have decided to relieve David Griffin of his duties as Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations. This was a difficult decision, but one that I feel is necessary at this time to bring a fresh approach to our front office and build a culture that will deliver sustainable success on and off the court. I am committed to hiring the right person to lead our basketball operations and deliver an NBA championship to our city because this is what our fan base deserves. She went on to thank David Griffin, blah, 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 blah. Look, Griffin was in his 6th season with the organization. This is a Pelicans team that only made 2 playoff appearances during that 6-year time frame, and they never made it past the first round of the playoffs. I think we can all undoubtedly say a change was 100% needed. I mean, I just laid it out, 21 and 61. Not exactly going to get it done. And Gail says, I'm committed to bringing in the person who I think could best help turn this franchise around and bring this city a championship. Well, David Griffin, that firing was announced about 11 a.m. yesterday, 10:30-ish. A little bit later in that afternoon, it was announced that they already have a front runner for the position. And that front runner is Louisiana native Joe Dumars. So according to Sham Shanaria, he reports that the Pelicans and Dumars are expected to engage in conversations this week, and a deal could be finalized by the end of the week. It seems like this is something that is moving very, very fast. Dumars is actually the vice president of basketball operations for the entire NBA right now. We all know Joe Dumars. He won 2 championships as a player in 89 and 90. He won 1 as an NBA executive in 2004. All of those are with the Detroit Pistons. That was the Chauncey Billups team. Everybody remembers that squad. He was the lead exec in Detroit for 14 years, beginning in the year 2000. In that time period, the Detroit Pistons had a winning record. It was 595 and 536. You could say, okay, well, that doesn't exactly blow the doors off the place. Yeah, but look at what the Detroit Pistons are now. I mean, they've shown a lot of promise this year, but the last 10 or so years, they've kind of been an NBA bottom feeder. So that's actually really good success in the NBA. He was named league executive in 2022 after 3 years with Sacramento. So he's been out of an NBA front office for 3 years now. He's not been there since 2021. 2022 is his first year in this NBA league executive role. Everyone wants to point out that he is a Louisiana native. And I was talking to Jordan about this before the show. I'm like, that's great if you're trying to sell someone to your fans. First off, if you're trying to sell someone this hard to your fan base, it may not be the home run hire that you think it is. Secondly, who cares if he has Louisiana ties? This is not college. You are not recruiting in the state of Louisiana. I don't care where you're from. Half the guys on your team are European now. Doesn't really matter where you come from. I appreciate the success. I appreciate that he's been league executive of the year multiple times. I appreciate that he won a championship as VP in Detroit. That was in 2004. And I just mentioned that he hasn't been in an NBA front office in 3 years now. 2021 was his last season running an NBA front office. Now, he obviously didn't forget how to do that, but he's just been out of the game for a little bit. I get it. He's been in the NBA front office. That's different than managing one specific team. You're kind of just overseeing everything in the NBA office. When you're the VP of an NBA basketball team, every single decision in that basketball organization goes through you. There is a lot more on your plate. A lot more big-time decisions have to be made when you are VP of a professional basketball team. So, okay, we got Joe Dumars out of the way. I'm not that excited about it. I'm sure most people are just kind of like, it's kind of how I feel about it. Like, is it awful? No. Again, he's a guy that's had success. It's behind him, but he's a guy that's had success nonetheless. What I want to look at is, what does this mean for Willie Green? Jordan, you said that there was a rumor that the Pelicans were going to make Dumars, or whoever becomes VP of basketball operations, keep Willie Green. Is that right?
Yeah, they're going to handcuff him.
Look, I don't know where that rumor started. I have a hard time believing that's the case. I imagine that the next guy in charge will want his own coach and want his own coach immediately. And it's not like Willie Green has this stellar reputation within the organization and an excellent record to fall back on. Willie Green is 148 and 180 in New Orleans. He has a losing record. It's probably time for him to go anyways. Who should the Pelicans target? I'm going to throw a few names at you, Jordan, and you tell me. This is not Jordan Kitchens, host of the Pelican Scoop. This is Jordan Kitchens, fan of the New Orleans Pelicans.
Okay.
Mike Malone.
I mean, of course.
Mike Malone.
Yeah.
Top
NBA
5
champion.
coach in the NBA. Find me 5 coaches in the NBA better than Mike Malone. I don't think you're going to be able to do it.
There isn't.
And then people can say, okay, well, Mike Malone was just fired. Guys, if you go look at Mike Malone's career record as an NBA head coach, sure, he was in Sacramento for 2 years. They were awful. Everyone's kind of awful in Sacramento. Not really his fault. You go look at what he did in Denver. He got to Denver in 2015. They were 33-49. Then the following year, 40-42. So he doesn't start hot. After that, from 2017 until this year, 8 straight seasons, he never had a losing record one time. And let's not forget, in 2022-2023 season, he was NBA champion. That was just 2 years ago. I thought it was a head-scratcher that they fired Mike Malone. But, look, you don't know what goes on behind the scenes, right? Maybe him and the GM didn't get along. Him and the owner had a spat. Whatever. Maybe the team didn't want to play for him anymore because they were 47-32 under Mike Malone this year. They were battling for that 4 seed. So it wasn't like they were out of the playoff picture. Nikola Jokic is playing on an NBA level. If I had a vote, I would vote Nikola Jokic MVP. So it's not like Mike Malone fell off. He's just 2 years removed from winning an NBA championship. Oh, and he's 53 years old. I know everyone wants to talk about, retread. I get that. Mike Malone's not your typical retread. Mike Malone's not a guy that won a championship a decade ago, has had 3 to 4 straight losing seasons, and the team moved on. This is a guy that, in my opinion, is still at the top of his game. If I'm New Orleans, I hire Joe Dumars or whoever it is, and they want to move on from Willie Green, I'm picking up the phone and I'm calling Mike Malone as quick as I possibly can before some other team does it, because they're going to. Speaking of another team doing that, Phoenix Suns might be in the Mike Malone market because they fired Mike Budenholzer yesterday. So, Jordan, I'm going to throw this name at you. Mike Budenholzer.
No.
See, I'm kind of with you on that. My knee-jerk reaction to that was, I don't want Mike Budenholzer. He is a retread. You know, he's a guy that's...
Retread, but I think this team needs a stern leader. Like, we need somebody that's no BS. Mike Malone is no BS. Bud Budenholzer has a history of just kind of...
He does.
Just being a guy. Like, you need somebody. That's why... So I'm on the fence about the Joe Dumars thing.
Yeah.
For sure. Because, one, he's a strong figure that I know for a fact. He's one of those people that can literally... NBA Hall of Famer. I can sit there and tell Zion, like, look, my way to the highway, blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. But at the same time, you know, he's been out the game for a while. So that's why I feel like you need a strong figure in this locker room. You need somebody that's going to, the organization's been given too much BS. Like, we need somebody that's going to be in there like, I'm trying to win. Forget the, we cutting, no. We need to get in the luxury tax. We need to spend some money, you know, figure out why everybody keeps getting hurt, why everybody leaves the team and gets better. Figure that out, and that's a core problem. So that's where I feel like I need to start. Strong figure.
To your point, I was kind of on the fence when I saw Budenholzer got fired. I'm like, oh, well, you know, that's somebody they can go after. And sure, he's a retread, but he's had success in the not too distant past. I mean, you know, he had a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks not long ago. But what does it tell you about his culture? That they moved on from him quickly. He's gone in just 1 year in Phoenix. Now, the new owner in Phoenix, this is his 3rd straight season moving on from a coach after just 1 year. So I'm not holding that entirely against Mike Budenholzer. But look, he's won a championship somewhat recently. He's been a respectable coach in this league for a number of years. But what I want to look at is what kind of culture can he create, regardless of how much success he's had. Whether any stop he's been at, teams have not exactly fought to keep him around. You need somebody who's going to come in and establish a strong culture because this team needs a complete makeover. And I'm not talking about getting rid of all your star players. I'm talking about instilling a mentality of toughness into this team. We talk all the time about, oh, well, this guy's missing games for a minor injury, or this guy's missing games, or this guy doesn't want to play back-to-backs. They're on a rest. I saw this stat yesterday, and it made me applaud Chris Paul, but it also made me sick as a Pelicans fan. Chris Paul is in his 20th season in the NBA. He played in all 82 games in year 20. And his team was not in playoff contention at any point in that season. He could have hung it up. He could have set during back-to-backs. He didn't do that because he's on a team that has a strong culture. He has a strong mentality. You don't have any of that with the New Orleans Pelicans. So whether it's Budenholzer, whether it's Malone, whether it's a young coach. Now, I fully expect the Pelicans to make a bad hire and be like, we're hiring Mike White from Georgia that nobody's going to get excited about because that's what the New Orleans Pelicans do. But regardless of who you hire, you can hire a former champ like Mike Malone, a guy that people are on the fence about Mike Budenholzer, or some young up-and-coming coach, whether it's a college coach or an NBA assistant. Make sure they can come in and establish a winning culture in this locker room because that's what you need. You could say, okay, well, you need this. Look, you have Zion Williamson. I have said some choice things about Zion Williamson. But when he's on the court, he can play. You have a piece to build around. Build around that piece, instill some toughness into this franchise, and just get back to being respectable. I'm not asking you to win an NBA championship 2, even 3 years from now, because I think you're a lot further away from that. But you can't go 21-61. You just can't do that. You have to be a respectable NBA franchise. We'll see what the Pelicans do. Do they hire Joe Dumars? Is Dumars allowed to bring in his own coach? We'll find out. There's going to be a lot of mix-ups, though, coming for the New Orleans Pelicans. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, LSU Baseball has a midweek game tonight against McNeese, and it's not a normal midweek opponent. We'll get into that on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to centralplumbing.org. Centralplumbing.org, baby. 925-8552. Central Plumbing is your one-stop plumbing shop and has been for damn near 50 years. And when you look at that timeline, it tells you a few things. First off, the only way you keep your doors open that long and you continue to grow over that time period is if your customers are consistently satisfied with the customer experience. And this is everything from the pricing to the service to the quality of the work. And why not, right? Licensed, bond insured employees, flat rate pricing, 24/7 emergency service, great warranty once the work is done. It also tells you that they've seen it all, they can fix it all. Go to centralplumbing.org.
Go to the website today and see what they can do for you. Remodels. Go tankless with the tankless water heater. Never run out of hot water again, but you always know 24/7, 365, weekends, holidays, game day. They will be there. 225-925-8552.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
At least ESPN staff, I think me and Paul are the only ones that did not go to private school.
Yeah, because a lot of guys went to Jesuit here.
I think everybody across. You did not?
I didn't go to private school.
Yeah, okay, Louisiana then.
Yeah.
Did not go to private school. It was me and Paul. Paul went to Central, I went to Walker.
So you're proud about you're proud, Walker. You're proud.
There's worse places to grow up, Jordan. It might not be the giant big city that is New Orleans, Louisiana.
It ain't the clean boots, but they work. They work though.
We're not even in New Orleans, right?
Well, look, hold on. See, this is gonna be that's what the disconnect. So the West Bank, because people like to be like, "Oh, you're from the West Bank. You're not from New Orleans." Listen, man. If you
honestly, it's all the same to me.
I'll say this: if you're on the North Shore, Mandeville, Covington,
those are different cities.
Yeah, like that's no. But Slidell and Slidell. If you Slidell, I'm sorry, Slidell. Y'all are not New Orleans.
It's not New Orleans.
But if you're in the central area, Kenner is New Orleans.
Kenner, Metairie, all that. I agree.
New Orleans. Yes,
I 100% agree.
Yes.
That's all New Orleans to me. Okay, look, LSU baseball playing a midweek game tonight. We're gonna talk about that, but before we do, let's get this show started.
It's time to get to work, courtesy of Tiger Labor and Staffing, where they can help take care of screening, training, payroll, and more. Now, for starters.
LSU baseball taking on the McNeese Cowboys tonight at 6:30 at Alex Box Stadium. You can say, okay, in-state midweek game, the Tigers should roll in this one. This is not your ordinary midweek game. Alondra and I were talking about it right before the show started. This Cowboys team is 27-5. It is the best start in school history through 32 games. Alondra mentioned they're 26th in the RPI. They're at large at a NCAA tournament bid right now. They hit over 300 as a team at 303, and as a staff, they have a sub-4 ERA at 392. This won't be a walk in the park midweek game, and you're sitting there saying, okay, well, maybe they have 1 to 2 dominant pitchers. No. They got 2 pitchers on their staffs that's ERA is above 5. Everyone else is like 3 and below. That's where that 392 comes from. They are good top to bottom. We were looking into it a little bit yesterday. Hey, who's going to start for them in the midweek? Doesn't really matter. I think the most any pitcher has gone in the midweek for them this year is 3 innings. So they're really going to throw 3 or 4 guys at you depending on the situation. You have to be ready for it. So while this might be a tough midweek game, here's what this does. This gives you an opportunity to bounce back from an awful weekend against a quality opponent here in your own backyard. Now, a lot of times you could say, okay, well, midweek games, it's a time to get your young players involved. Alondra, I'm going to ask your opinion on this because, in my opinion, I don't want that against McNeese. What I want to see tonight, I don't want lineup tinkering. I want your best 9 out there, whoever you think is going to start for you this weekend, and try to get those bats hot again because you were awful. We talked about it. You dug yourself in multiple big-time holes this weekend. You tried to come back a little at the end of games. It wasn't quite enough. I mean, I mentioned it yesterday. I think the first 2 games of the series, 1 through 6 in the lineup, were 8 for 50. Oh, and then they were 2 for 8 on Sunday. So it didn't go much better for you there either. And that's just 1 through 6. The bottom 3 in your order was not much better. Matter of fact, they may have even been worse. So I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be like, oh, let me put this guy in this situation and see how they react. Let me do this. I want my best 9 out there, and I want their bats to get hot because the SEC series is not going to get easier.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to just because you need to give them the opportunity to shake back from this weekend. Like, you got to get them their at-bats. You got to let them. And I think Jay talked about it last night. Take this Tuesday game to regroup and get back on track. And he said that they actually practiced yesterday. They usually take Monday off, but they did a light practice yesterday. So hopefully there's not too much different tonight, but I don't know. We'll see.
Something else I want to see. Because, again, your top 3 hitters on the weekend, 8 for 38. That's not going to cut it. That's a 210 batting average. I mean, think about who's in your top 3. That's Derek Curiel, Jerry Jones, and Daniel Dickinson. Those are your best hitters right now. Them and Stephen Milam. And Milam wasn't great either. Top to bottom, that's kind of how it was. Milam had the home run. I get all that. But average-wise, not where you want it to be. If it is, in fact, William Schmidt getting the start tonight, if that's who Jay goes with, I want to see him extend it a little bit. Because honestly, guys, I kind of think that Sunday spot is up for grabs. Chase Shores only went 2 innings. He struggled a lot lately. And Alondra, I know you mentioned, you don't want Zach Cowan in that position because he's so good out of the bullpen. I agree. I don't see why it can't be William Schmidt. Maybe not now, because you're not going to throw him in this weekend. It's too soon. You're not going to throw him in the fire at Tennessee. But after that, maybe you do a little change up in the lineup. Chase Shores is still going to have a role. Maybe you bring him out of the pen for 1 to 2 innings. I'm not saying you're going to make a change. I'm just saying that Sunday spot might be up for grabs.
I think Sunday you do need a little more length, but Jay mentioned last night that Chase Shores was always going to have like a shorter leash on Sunday because they had already dropped game 1 and 2. So like any little thing that was going to go wrong, they were going to pull him anyway. So it might be up for grabs, but I'm trying to think like later on down the road when you're in Omaha and you have to use pitchers to start that you haven't yet. Like if you keep your regular rotation, right? You keep Cade, Ianson, and Shores in the postseason, you're still going to need somebody to step up.
Well, because we were talking about it, like in Omaha, you're going to play Tuesday, you're going to play Wednesday. Like people forget, Paul Skeens did not pitch in the championship series.
Right.
Because you need, like, an Ackenhausen had to step up in that game, and he was fine. I mean, you lost the game, but you had to have somebody step up.
Yeah. And that's kind of my point with that is, like, maybe the Sunday spot, maybe it is up for grabs, but even if it isn't, you need somebody else as a starter for when you get deeper into the season like that.
Yeah, so whoever it is, look, if it's William Schmidt, if it's Connor Ware, I mean, those have kind of been the two guys that are starting in midweek. I want to see them go 3 innings. And if they make it through 3 innings, can they go 4? And I know what you're thinking, okay, well, that might hinder them pitching this weekend. They can still pitch on Sunday. They can still pitch on Saturday. I mean, that gives them 4 to 5 days rest. They'll be fine there. But, look, you look at this lineup, and just the 9 guys in this McNeese lineup that have hit the most this year. 413, 344, 333, 330, 300, 276, 255. You have 3 guys hitting 250. Everybody at that is around 300 and above. This is not a slouch. We talked about how good the pitching staff was. They're 392 as a staff. This team hits 303 as a team. They hit from both sides of the plate. They get on base top to bottom. This is not going to be an easy out, but I think it maybe couldn't come at a better time because of how bad you looked on the weekend. You have a chance to bounce back in the midweek, but against a good opponent. Because if you come out and you play some team that's just awful and you win 13-0 in 7 innings, like, great. You didn't really learn a lot about your team. You didn't really see how they could bounce back against a good team. Alondra put in the document, like, they're an at-large tourney team right now. This is a type of caliber team you could see in the NCAA tournament. If you get to host a regional, a super regional, and you still have a chance to bounce back and get hot and get this thing going back again, because you do have another SEC series coming up this weekend. All right, want to take a quick timeout. When we get back on LSU legend called it quits in the NFL yesterday. We're breaking it down. Want to kind of look back at his time in the LSU as well as the NFL. That's all coming up here on the other side, here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
If your car dies in the interstate when you're having a panic attack, you think you're dying and you're on the way to the hospital, chances are you need new cars. You should go to All-Star Toyota of Baton Rouge. Located off Airline in Goodwood, whether you're looking for a new, used, you want to lease potentially, it's all there at All-Star. And they've got the best prices, best selection. You go to the website, you can check out the deals, or just go see them, start to work with the sales staff, okay? Because the people are what separates the culture. Over there's the absolute best. Remember, we got our buy 3 tires, get the 4th for $1 deal going down right now. Go to All-Star Toyota Baton Rouge, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
Yeah, when you go to the website, see what they've got available for you, and that is buying new, that's leasing, and that is renting. And we tell you every day because I find it like it's one of the best things out there that whatever you buy new, you can lease and you can rent. It's just not going to be found anywhere else. Like you're going to get like one option in other places. Everything's available in the rental process over at All-Star. Go to the website today, allstartoyotabatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
With Hester and T-Bob.
The KTZBlinds.com, KTOZ Blinds.com. And I can't tell you enough. And actually, like during the last couple of weeks, our shade has just consistently stayed down that we have in the back of our home. And that's where the sun kind of, before we got it, just really ruined TV viewing during the day. You're trying to watch like a big NFL game or a big baseball game. LSU's got an early one today, and you couldn't get it done. It just wasn't the same, right? You got this huge glare on the TV. Well, I didn't think putting something on the exterior of our home would change the interior of our home, but it has certainly done that. Now it's done its original job. Like, Harlow loves going out to our little patio. We dropped the shade down there. She plays out there, absolutely loves it. It's not as hot, it's not bright, but it has changed the dynamic of our entire home. The house is cooler whenever we have the shade down. They'll do it for you as well. K2ZBlinds.com.
An LSU legend has called it quits in his NFL football career. One Patrick Peterson, he decided yesterday that he was going to retire as an Arizona Cardinal. Look, I started thinking back at him being one of my all-time favorite Tigers. He made so many big plays. What he did in that 2010 season, playing corner, returning kickoffs, returning punts, it was magical. I mean, he was one of the first guys to really be that game breaker wearing that number 7 jersey. I mean, it was like Ali Highsmith, him back-to-back, then he turns it over to Tyrann Mathieu. We know what that number's become. We always talk about Hester being the original number 18. I get that Ali Highsmith may have started it. To me, it's Patrick Peterson. I mean, he's the, when you talk about who you think of when you hear the number 7 at LSU, for me, it's Patrick Peterson. It always will be. In 2010, just for reference of, I mentioned how great that season was. Let me just show you how great. In 2010, 42 tackles at the cornerback position, 2 tackles for a loss, 4 interceptions. He returned those 4 interceptions for 134 yards. That is a 35.5-yard interception return, like per catch. He returned it an average of 33 yards. Did not have an interception return for a touchdown, but he made up for it on punt and kickoff returns. On punt returns, 26 returns, 418 yards, and 2 touchdown returns. On kickoffs, he was even better. He didn't have a touchdown, but he averaged 29 yards per return. 32 returns, 932 yards. He had 1,300 yards in just returns his last year at LSU, and that's not counting what he did on defense. I mentioned he had all the interceptions. He had 4 of them his last year here at LSU, and he also locked down the opponent's top wide receiver week in and week out. I started thinking back on it, like what play comes to mind during his LSU career when you think of Patrick Peterson. For me, it's easy. 2010 opening game of the year, you play North Carolina in the Chick-fil-A kickoff. And, going into that game, North Carolina had a couple guys suspended, but then they had like this virus outbreak on their team, and they were down to like their 3rd string running back, their 2nd string wide receiver. Like, everybody thought LSU was going to come in and smash. But every time something like that happens, it seems like The guys that are the second and third team step up and play up to their level of competition. And that's exactly what North Carolina did. This game was tight for a long time. This was TJ Yates. He was the quarterback of this team. And in that game, they kicked it off to Patrick Peterson. And, he did what Patrick Peterson does. He made a game-changing play that really swung the momentum. I mean, you can see it right here. Jordan's played it. It's 16-10 at this point in the second quarter. And then, Patrick Peterson showing his athleticism, and nobody was catching him as soon as he got to the sidelines. He did this so many times. He had an interception in that game as well. Like, that game alone, that was the opening game of the 2010 season for LSU. That was the game right there that everybody's like, okay, like we saw Patrick Peterson in 2009. We were wondering how he was going to replicate it. This guy's the real deal. And, in my opinion, when you talk about corners at LSU, that guy's always going to be in my top 5. Jordan, is there a play for you, Alondra as well, like either one of you, like it can be LSU, it could be the NFL, like there doesn't have to be. Because there were so many, but is there a play that comes to mind for you when we talk about Patrick Peterson?
Almost definitely. College-wise was that intercept. I was just watching the highlights. Definitely was that intercept against ULM where they had the purple jerseys. He kind of mossed I guess you can call him a receiver. You want to call that guy a receiver the way Patrick Peterson was looking. Moss the receiver, takes it to the house, and you have number 14, Tyrann Mathieu, running alongside of him, blocking guys. It's kind of poetic a little bit about how they ended up being teammates later on in Arizona, him basically like helping changing his life around. So it's good to see that. Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. There's also, because he was like a great punt returner, there's also a 60-yard one versus West Virginia. I put it in the doc if you want to pull it up. And then he hits the Heisman pose at the end. Like,
I was at that game, and you see a lot of people hit Heisman poses now. Right really, you saw Desmond Howard, but outside of that, guys kind of shied away from it. A lot of guys didn't hit the Heisman pose, and Les Miles fussed at him a little bit on the sidelines. Like if you go back and watch the full game, he got fussed at a little bit for that, but it was all worth it because that's how good he was. Every year it seems
Jordan.
like
Don't worry about it.
It seems like every year there's a defensive player that you're like, oh, this guy's getting Heisman consideration. In 2010, it was Patrick Peterson. That's who it was. And Jordan, you were talking about the ULM game. Not even a play. I'm talking about a performance. And if you go back and look at the box score, you can be like, oh, well, Taylor, A.J. Green had a pretty good day. But LSU was playing at Georgia in, I believe, 2009. This was Charles Scott, the year he had all those touchdowns. And Charles Scott ultimately busted a long run that helped you win that game. But Patrick Peterson, as a true sophomore, this was his first year as the full-time starter. Because if you remember as a freshman, Patrick Peterson played a lot, but it was kind of a corner rotation because you had Chris Hawkins and you had Ja Eugene, both as returners. Patrick Peterson kind of worked his way in there, kind of took over for Ja Eugene as the season went along. But 2009 in Athens, about halfway through the year, he had to go up against A.J. Green. Everybody knows A.J. Green. You know how great he was in college. You know how dominant he was in the NFL. Patrick Peterson, for the majority of that game, bullied A.J. Green. He big boyed him as a sophomore in college. And sure, A.J. Green had a touchdown in that game because he got his. A.J. Green's too good of a player to shut down the entire game. But that entire performance that he had against A.J. Green, even on the plays that he got beat, he was right there in position to make these plays as such a young player. I remember sitting there watching that game being like, this guy here, like he's a little bit different than everybody else on this team. And then that ultimately led in to the incredible 2010 season. But, when I go look at his NFL career, because that's all everybody was talking about yesterday, is Patrick Peterson a Hall of Famer? When you go look at his career, he got to Arizona in 2011. Patrick Peterson made 8 straight Pro Bowls, and sprinkled in there in those 8 straight Pro Bowls was 3 first-team All-Pros. To me, you're in the NFL. There's no question about it. 36 interceptions throughout his entire career. 2 of them returned for touchdowns. 4 sacks in his career. 652 total tackles. 571 solo. Everything. You get 15 tackles for a loss. Everything you want to see from this guy. And he played 16 games through the first 8 years of his career. All of those Pro Bowl seasons, all 16 games. Then he played 10, then 16. He never played less than double-digit games all the way up to 2023 when he was in Pittsburgh. He played in all 17 games that year with 16 starts. And you can say, okay, well, you're eventually going to fall off. Not really. You look at what he did at his age 33 season in 2023 because he didn't play in 24. 42 total tackles, 2 interceptions. Patrick Peterson, not only was he dominant from the time he stepped foot in the NFL. He made first-team All-Pro as a rookie, by the way. He was good until the very end. There was never any drop-off. And, I mean, this is a guy that's playing DB in the NFL at 33 years old, and there was no drop-off. They asked him to play safety a little bit in Pittsburgh. He did it a little bit in Minnesota, whether it was safety, whether it was corner. He was great wherever you put him. He was just one of those natural football players. And, you know, everyone was having the discussion of, is Patrick Peterson a Hall of Famer? If I had a vote, absolutely. Now, first ballot, no. I don't think he makes it first ballot. But he has the resume. 8 Pro Bowls, 3 first-team All-Pros. I just brought up the numbers. He never had a drop-off in production. He was great from his time in Arizona to Minnesota all the way to Pittsburgh. Safety and corner. His career is very similar to a Charles Woodson. Now, he doesn't have the Super Bowl that a Charles Woodson had, but Charles Woodson's a guy that came in with a lot of hype out of Michigan. Woodson actually won the Heisman Trophy. He has to move to safety a little bit later in his career, and he was still very productive all the way up until the day he retired. And that's the category I view Patrick Peterson in. I mean, I think he's that good of a player. So is Patrick Peterson a Hall of Famer? I would love for that to be the case. He makes a compelling argument for sure, and my vote is yes. All right, look, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, Anissa Mara got drafted in the WNBA draft last night. We're talking about it and kind of looking back on her college career. That's coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Go to Pelican Roofing, pelicanroof.com. Pelicanroof.com is a website where you get in touch with South Louisiana's most trusted roofing experts. Okay, the guys that have over 500. Oh, God. I almost threw up 500 5-star reviews. I almost threw up a brand new freaking roof at a very affordable price with a great process from answering the phone to even the dedicated project manager on every single site to the cleanup, because that's the attention to detail, the focus on your job that you get when you work with Pelican Roof.
Go to pelicanroof.com today, and you can see those reviews that we talk about. Over 500 5-star reviews. You can get everything scheduled. You can see some of the projects they've done in the Lafayette area, in the Baton Rouge area. Remember, they are in both communities, offices in both locations, Lafayette and Baton Rouge. Go to the website today, pelicanroof.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Welcome back to more sports talk with some other stuff mixed in. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Welcome back in. Final segment, hour number 1, Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you in place of Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert, as they are both on a little vacay. Mentioned it a little bit there before we took that time out. Former LSU forward Anissa Morrow drafted pretty early last night in the WNBA draft. She went 7 overall to the Connecticut Sun. I went back last night and I was looking at just the raw numbers for Anissa Morrow and forgot just how dominant she was. And for her career, her 2 years at DePaul, 2 years at LSU, her career average, 20.5 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game. That's dominant. You look at what she did at LSU. Her first year here, 16.4 points, right at 10 rebounds a game. This year, 18.7 points, 13.5 rebounds per game. And she's someone that stands about 6'1". I mean, there's a lot bigger players out there in women's college basketball than Anissa Morrow. But she fought hard. She was a menace down low. I mean, she was just one of those players that had a knack for getting rebounds. I mean, her hands were almost magnets when it came to that basketball. It seemed like anytime you're listening on the radio or watching on TV, there's a missed shot by either team, number 24 is right there to grab that rebound. Like, Anissa Morrow is just one of those players that really kind of got underrated. I mean, she gets down low. She's not one of those incredibly flashy players, but look, she was a All-American this year by 4 different polls. So obviously people in college basketball circles thought very highly of Anissa Morrow. She was a All-American her first 2 years at DePaul. So in 4 years in college basketball, she was a 3-time All-American. That'll get it done. So congratulations to Anissa Morrow. Congratulations to the Connecticut Sun, because you got yourself a heck of a player. Okay, we got about 3 minutes before we hit break. Alondra, I got to ask you, would you go to space with Katy Perry?
No.
No? What about Jeff Bezos' wife?
Okay, no, I would not go to space, period. I'm definitely not going to space with all the people that went yesterday. Also, I thought they were going to be up there for like longer than 10 minutes. And I thought they were going to like space. Like, I thought
they probably just went to like stratosphere.
I thought they were going to be in space.
Yeah. You thought like no gravity spacesuit, like floating around.
Well, I didn't think they were gonna like leave the spaceship that they were on, or whatever you call it. But I definitely thought that they were gonna be in space and they were gonna be there longer than 10 minutes.
Nah, I mean, I was disappointed too. But what does anything Jeff Bezos do other than disappoint me? I would not get on there with Jeff Bezos' wife because, well, I hate Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Me and him have beef. Jordan, you don't understand, Jordan, okay? It has been like 3 or 4 times in a row. They've just completely lost my package at Amazon. Who else does that happen to?
Only you.
3 times in a row?
3 times is crazy.
I ordered something. They lost it. They gave me my money back. I gave the money to my wife, had her order it, came in 2 days.
Damn.
Same address. Like, came in 2 days.
They saw that it didn't say Taylor Sharp, and it's like, oh, we can let this slide.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Same last name, just not me. So it's lit.
As somebody that used to work in the post office, do you have beef with anybody in your local postal?
Not their fault. Because if I'm getting if I get the Varsity Sports Now, the games I call, got my check in the mail yesterday, no problem. Yes, they still send out checks. We don't have direct deposit. But got my check in the mail for that. Like, anything City of Walker. I get, all the local checks and bills and everything still comes.
Just your Amazon package.
Literally just Amazon. So this is Jeff Bezos' fault 100%. But as far as space goes, what they did, sure, I'll do that. Going actually in space,
nah, there's no way.
I don't know, man.
No way.
I don't know.
Speaking of space, and this has been like, okay, actually, I don't know if we have time for this, but this has been like weighing on my mind all weekend, right? You know how I understand gravity, I get it all. Follow me here, please. You know how obviously the world or the earth is round, right?
It's not flat.
No. So like, are people on the other side of us like standing upside down?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So like we're on this side of the world, right? We're on the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
Are people in the southern hemisphere like standing
No,
upside
we're all
down?
facing.
See, that's
so
what a lot
like,
of cartoons was.
all right, look, you're round like this, right? You're round. Everybody's standing the same direction. Though.
See, this is what
somebody's lower than you. All right, look, we'll get into that more in hour number 2. We got that coming up next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Good morning, Baton Rouge. It is hour 2 of OTB. It's 65 degrees outside. Mostly cloudy. Highs 77, lows of 51. And hour 2 of OTB, we're going to talk, potentially Aaron Rodgers to the Saints. A little bit of LSU practice news and a couple of OTB mailbags. So getting those questions in. Hour number 2 of OTB starts now.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah.
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome in. Hour number 2, Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in the big boy chair for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. We got Alondra Villarreal. We got Jordan Kitchens. Alondra's confusing people in the chat with her upside down, other side of the world talk. Like the people in chat, they're not going to understand this. I get it. I'm looking at half the people in the chat and their minds are blown.
I think it's a valid question.
I don't hate it. I mean, it'll certainly make you think.
Yeah.
All right, look, right now, I want to talk a little New Orleans Saints here because, look, we talked a lot yesterday about Derek Carr possibly being unavailable for the start of the 2025 season, maybe the entire season. What bothers me the most about this is it has been over 72 hours since that was reported, and we still don't know what the exact injury is or how the hell it even happened. But that's kind of the New Orleans Saints for you. They're just an inept franchise ran by inept people, so expect inept results. Would the Saints draft a rookie like I mentioned yesterday in Shedeur Sanders, or do they run it back? Or do they run it back with Spencer Rattler? Those are certainly two options. But they have some other options as well. Look, yesterday I mentioned two quarterbacks. It was Teddy Bridgewater and Carson Wentz. If you go look at Teddy Bridgewater, look, we know what he did here in New Orleans. He was here for a number of years. Saints fans loved him. I mean, he was Breeze's backup for 2 years, and he had to come in 2019 when Breeze went down. He went 5-0 as a starter, almost 68% completion, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. He did some nice things here. That was when he was 27. He's 33 years old now. And remember, 2 years ago, he was with Detroit. At the end of the year, he retired, said he wanted to go coach his high school alma mater and be their head football coach. Well, last season, 2024, he does that. Right after the season's over, he had informed his team. This was apparently always the case, like at the beginning of the year, that, hey, if we win state, I'm going to go try to make an NFL comeback. He rejoins the Detroit Lions for the playoff run. That playoff run was short-lived, but he was on the team nonetheless. He played in one game in 2023, did not play at all last year because, again, he was just there for the playoffs. The last time we saw Teddy Bridgewater in action, as far as extended action, was 2022 with the Miami Dolphins. He played in 5 games. He had 2 starts. He was 0-2 as a starter, 683 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not great. The year before that, he took over in Denver. He started 14 games, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. The year before that, Carolina, 15 touchdowns, 11 picks. You get the point. Like, he was great in New Orleans in 2017. Or 2019. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, 5-0 record. Ever since then, he's kind of declined. 15 touchdowns, 11 picks, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks, and then 4-4 in Miami. And again, that was 2 years ago. If you brought in Teddy Bridgewater, it obviously would not to be your starting quarterback. You'd bring him in as a veteran backup because all you have outside of Derek Carr is Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. I imagine if you brought in Teddy, you would roll with Spencer Rattler for a year. You would have a veteran backup who could help Spencer Rattler out, continue to adjust to life in the NFL as best he could. The other name I mentioned was Carson Wentz, because these are kind of the only 2 names left on the free agent market. And no, they're not great options, but if you want to go free agent route, these are probably the 2 names you're going to hear. Carson Wentz just went off his age 32 season. Look, he played 1 game with the Chiefs. He lost that game, but he went 12 of 19 for 118 yards. Not eye-popping numbers, but he was efficient. And everyone's going to say, okay, well, Carson Wentz, he fell off after that awful injury back in 2017. Not really. He came back in 2018, 21 touchdowns, 7 picks. 2019 with the Eagles, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Then he kind of fell apart a little bit in 2020. 16 and 15, touchdown interception. But he took over for the Colts for 1 year. Started all 17 games, went 9-8 as a starter, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. So, like, Carson Wentz wasn't quite as bad in Indy as we all remember. Like, sure, it didn't work out in Washington, but Washington was so awful as a franchise back in 2022 that do I blame Carson Wentz or do I blame ownership and an awful front office? I'd say a little bit of both. Went to the Rams, played in 2 games, 70% completion, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. You get the point. Kind of been an average NFL quarterback. Again, if you bring in Carson Wentz, he's probably a veteran backup to a guy like Spencer Rattler. If Rattler goes down, Wentz can make some spot starts for you along the way. We've talked about those 2 guys. We get it. There's another name out there. Would Aaron Rodgers be interested in the New Orleans Saints? I'm going to say probably not. Because at this point in Aaron Rodgers' career, he's 41 years old. He's going to want to go somewhere where he can win immediately. Obviously, that is not New Orleans. Because if he wanted a roster like this, constructed the way it is, he might as well have just stayed with the New York Jets, even though the Jets obviously did not want him. But if not New Orleans, then where? Because to me, it is very obvious Aaron Rodgers does not want to go to Pittsburgh. And you can say, well, how do you know that? I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm not inside the mind of Aaron Rodgers. That seems like a scary place. I would never want to be inside the mind of Aaron Rodgers. But he's been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers for over a month now, and he has not made his decision. Every other high-end free agent quarterback has made their decision. The Giants moved on because they were tired of waiting for him. The Browns moved on because they were tired of waiting for him. The Jets kicked him to the curb. Everybody else kind of has their quarterback situation figured out, unless you're the Tennessee Titans and you're drafting Cam Ward number 1 overall, in which case you're not grabbing Aaron Rodgers anyways. So I don't think he would want to come to New Orleans because he doesn't want to go to Pittsburgh. And if you look at Pittsburgh, he has everything he wants, what a starting quarterback would want. You have 2 really good receivers. You'll have a decent running game, a pretty decent O-line. You have an established head coach that has a winning culture in place in Mike Tomlin. And you have a pretty good defense as well that is led by TJ Watt, one of the best defensive players in the NFL. And he still doesn't want to go there. Why the hell would he want to go to New Orleans? But on the flip side of things, if you're a Saints fan, do you want Aaron Rodgers? Because I don't know if I would. He's obviously an upgrade from Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener, but at what price? What is Aaron Rodgers' number? How long do you have to commit to that number for? He's 41 years old. How much does he have left in the tank? And look, I get it. You go look at Rodgers' numbers in 2024. It's obviously not as bad as everyone kind of made it out to be. 63% completion, almost 3,900 yards, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. Not bad. It's not bad numbers. It's not what he did in Green Bay when he had 48 touchdowns and 37 touchdowns back-to-back years, both of which he had single-digit interceptions. It was 5 and 4. So he's obviously not what he was. But could he be a competent NFL quarterback for your team? I think he could. However, do you want that in the locker room? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to Aaron Rodgers. You got a first-time NFL head coach in Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's going to want to bring in his own guy, a guy that he can build around, that they can grow together. The last thing you want is a guy like Aaron Rodgers coming in whose ego's a little bit bigger than his on-field performance now in his career. That's going to want to call the shots. That's going to want to run the offense. That's the reason you brought in Kellen Moore. You wanted to run the Kellen Moore offense. You don't want to run the Aaron Rodgers offense. Jordan, as a Saints fan, if you heard today that the Saints signed Aaron Rodgers to a 1-year deal, how would you feel about it?
I would go bridge shopping. I'll just go pick which bridge I'm about to jump from the top of. I just know it's officially over. Preferably the Crescent City connection. I want to jump off right with the lights. I just know
it's really not a bad view. To your point,
yeah. Nice view. I might put a brick in my pocket just so I can just once I hit the water, I'm gone.
Make sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like kept together artificially.
Yeah. I don't want he's just a little paralyzed. He's able to make it. No, end it. Like if Aaron Rodgers is in the locker room, it's over. Obviously, something has gone awry.
I'm with you on that 100%. And, like, I'm not even somebody who grew up in New Orleans who's a diehard Saints fan like yourself, but I agree. I think Aaron Rodgers' off-the-field antics are not worth him at 41 years old. And what we saw from him last year, sure, you can say, okay, 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. Maybe not quite as bad as what everybody made it out to be, but the fact of the matter is he went 5-12. Zach Wilson had a better winning percentage with the New York Jets than you had. Sam Darnold had a better winning percentage with the New York Jets than Aaron Rodgers had. And things just
I didn't know that stat. That's crazy. I didn't know that
trouble
stat.
seems to find Aaron Rodgers wherever he goes.
Yeah.
He goes to Green Bay. He wins a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy. Aaron Rodgers can't get back because he's not performing in the playoffs. What do? You run off Mike McCarthy. You handpick Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
You can't make it to the Super Bowl again. Why? Because you're not performing that well in the playoffs. Let me throw a number at you. 7-9. That is Aaron Rodgers' playoff win-loss record since winning the Super Bowl back in 2010.
True.
So in the last 15 years, Aaron Rodgers has a losing record in the playoffs. He's making money like he's a top 3 to 4 quarterback still, and he's 41 years old, and he kind of has an ego issue. If you're telling me I'm bringing in a 41-year-old quarterback who doesn't have much time left, who might be a little bit of a locker room issue, we don't know for sure, and he has a losing record in the playoffs, and you take the name off the back of the jersey, you're going to say no 10 out of 10 times to that guy. I don't care that your name is Aaron Rodgers. I don't care that you have 3 or 4 MVPs in the last however many years. You hadn't had them in the last 3 years.
Nope.
And you go look at the Green Bay Packers, they're doing just fine without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they're way better right now.
So,
Jordan Love
and
might,
then he goes to New York, doesn't perform well. What does the franchise do? They blame Robert Saleh.
Yep.
They fire Robert Saleh. Guess what? You had a better winning percentage with Robert Saleh than you did without him. You won more games before he got fired than you did without him. Because you had Aaron Rodgers leading your team, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a very good leader. I have been very critical of Aaron Rodgers, whether it's this show, whether I fill in for Hunt's show, does not matter where. And it doesn't really have anything to do with his play. I think the character of Aaron Rodgers could use a little bit of work. I don't want that in the Saints locker room because if you're Kellen Moore, you want to establish your own character. You want to bring in guys that you can grow, that you can build, younger players. Everyone talks about getting younger. A 41-year-old quarterback is not getting any younger. That's not what you want. You bring in Aaron Rodgers for a year. Best case scenario, you make the playoffs, lose first round, he retires. Worst case scenario, he tries to change the entire offense. Kellen Moore essentially has to start over from square one in year 2. I mean, I don't think I'm overreacting here as far as like I want Aaron Rodgers as far away from the New Orleans Saints as I could possibly get.
No. Well, also at the same time, like you said, you want Kellen Moore to come in, be able to establish, put some roots down. You kind of want him to be on the same timeline as a quarterback. That's why the whole allure of drafting a quarterback, because you want your head coach and your quarterback on the same timeline. Like, all right, we're going to grow together. Aaron Rodgers is older than Kellen Moore. Like, Aaron Rodgers is significantly older than Kellen Moore. And he's like, old dogs don't learn new tricks. Just call it what it is. So at the same time, I get it. Quarterback, whatever. What side you want the dart, you want Shador, whatever. I just think the best case scenario for the Saints is best player available. You have too many holes regardless. You could draft Will Campbell for all like you still have hole at every position. You kind of have a hole no matter where. So like as long as it's not running back, I don't even want to say that, on the Jacob Hester morning show, but running back other than that, every other position I'm A-okay for.
Than
DN. DN too. I just can't I can't go down this rabbit hole with a DN again. I'll say that, yes.
Well, that's just because it's come back to bite the Saints so many times in the past.
Too many times.
I actually went there yesterday when we were talking about the Derek Carr thing. I was like, a lot of people are going to say you're forced to draft Shador Sanders. My point was, if you originally thought that was your best player, take it. Don't change your entire draft board. Continue. Stick with what you have. Yeah. If your original plan was to not take a quarterback, don't change it because of this Derek Carr situation. You did your homework on this guy. You thought this was the best guy for your spot.
Time.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah. I don't care if it's Shador. I don't care if it's somebody else. I want who you think is the best player for your situation that'll help you win. Yes. And we were talking about it a little bit last week. Like me and Alondra brought it up where it was like good news and bad news. Bad news is the Saints are bad everywhere. Good news is they're so bad everywhere that you kind of can't go wrong with this first-round pick. Unless you pick, a defensive end from some small school like you were talking
Mike
about.
Green, stay away from me.
If you pick somebody that everyone likes and all that, really regardless of position, your team has gotten better.
Yes.
I don't think you're going to get better long-term by signing a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But look, this is somebody who's a big name. He would sell tickets because good or bad, people are going to go to that game and they want to see what happens with an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. I just don't think it's a good fit at all. I think if Aaron Rodgers plays this year, you got to go somewhere where culture is already established with a veteran head coach on a roster that is ready to win now. None of that is the case in New Orleans. I don't think it's a good fit, but we'll see what happens. All right, look, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, get your questions in the YouTube chat. We got some OTB mailbag coming your way. You're on the other side on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Uh-oh. Speaking of baseball, spring has sprung, baseball's in the air, and the best beer to pair with this beautiful weather we've been having and this beautiful baseball we've been witnessing is Dos Equis. So next time you're at the ballpark or you're just at home watching the game, you're getting thirsty, you're wondering what you should do, you should go for Dos. That's right, baby.
Getting good at that.
And drink some Dos Equis in hour 3 today during the Champagne Shenanigans. Call them a little Dos Equis. Dos Equis. What's a D word that would be with like shenanigans?
We were just calling it Go for Dose last week.
No, I know. I was just looking for alliteration. And it doesn't matter. Look, guys, Dos Equis delicious. Next time you get a bottle, get you a little lime, lube that neck up, sprinkle some salt, drop that lime inside, and then lick and drink to your heart's content. Go for Dos. Dos Equis. Drink responsibly.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Welcome to the 7th ranked morning sports show in America. Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All right, welcome back in. 8 o'clock hour here on a Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp sitting in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. We got Alondra Villarreal. We got Jordan Kitchen sitting there on audio and video. And right now we do it every Tuesday at 8:15. Let's get into a little OTB mailbag.
Special delivery! I have this special delivery for Off the Bench. And look, it is marked most urgent.
We'll be writing to you.
The internet. What the is the internet?
OTB mailbag, Nookie asked, how long was Jordan's suspension the last time he filled in? He hasn't dropped any profanity today like he did last time. So, Jordan, I appreciate it. You've actually been on your best behavior today. Yeah. There's been no yelling during breaks. You haven't had any profanity. I do appreciate that. So, I don't think you'll get suspended.
You know, there was a few times without Jordan, like just with T-Bob, where I was like, man, Off the Bench is about to get canceled. But never did I feel like it was going to get definitively canceled more than when Jordan filled in that one day.
Well, look, man. That is more of the lore, okay? I don't really think it was more of a slip of the tongue, you know. When sometimes you stumble over your words. Sometimes, you know, you get caught on certain words.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know, it goes about. Now, the suspension, you know, I had a black SUV pull up to my house, you know, they knocked my door. They was like, hey, man, can't be doing that. You know, they had guns drawn and all that. I was like,
wow.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
When I tell you I went back in the house, I had to change my pants. Simple.
Jordan.
All right.
Some things need to be kept to yourself, buddy.
Yeah.
OTB mailbag. Who would you like to send to Mars since the first cruise won't be returning? Who in this building are we sending to Mars?
Beck.
That was such a quick answer.
I was going to go Tay-Tay.
I'll go.
Yeah, I would love to send Tay-Tay
I'll go to Mars. Absolutely,
yeah.
I'll go. I'll go one-man mission. I'll be back in 3 days.
You and Jacob back?
No, I think it takes longer just to get there. I don't actually know how long it takes to get to Mars.
I mean, it takes like 3 months to get to the moon, so I'm assuming it takes longer to get to.
I'll go. How much are they paying me?
Well, look, man, if you go with Elon, he's probably gonna be like, for free. Just for free. Just for the love of humanity.
Elon will run into some.
It takes 7 to 10 months to get to Mars.
Spaceship ride, brother. That's a long ride.
I can be one of those, like, don't they have, like, the sleep chambers or something?
Oh, like,
I'll
just
do
put
that.
you to sleep, just wake up?
Yeah, I'll do that. That's
AI
cool.
bot wakes you up?
Being in a spaceship with Jacob Beck for 7 months.
Yeah. No air. It's just...
Guys,
we bumping
he
and
said
grinding,
Beck,
baby.
you said me. That doesn't necessarily mean we're together.
That's the crew.
No.
They did say crew.
Okay, well, crew's 4. I think a typical astronaut crew
I
is
will
4.
send Bo, because Bo can sit there and work on it. You know,
Bo will do. Okay,
Yeah.
let me explain something to you. If you
Bo
send
would
Bo
lose
to
his
the,
mind.
if you send Bo
He
to
would lose his
space
mind 2
with me
minutes
and
in.
Jacob Beck, when I tell you Bo would do every single thing, and I would just go to sleep, I mean that wholeheartedly.
No, I think Bo would jump out of the spaceship.
It's like, end it. Like, it's
Yeah.
over with. I can't do it no more. Like, rips his suit off.
Yeah.
Hashtag mailbag. Would Tay-Tay let T-Bob on the door if they had been on the Titanic? Nope, absolutely not. Tough luck, T-Bob. Kiss my ass, bud. You're not getting on the door. Sorry, T-Bob. I will ask myself this. Would T-Bob let me on the door? Nope.
No.
Therefore, T-Bob's not getting on my door. Find your own door, buddy.
Okay.
For sure, he wouldn't have let you on
So
that
I
door.
know, I don't have like an opinion on this, but I know that Rose, like we all think she's evil because she didn't let Jack on the door, right? And
Yeah,
there's definitely
that's like
room.
the word.
There's definitely room on the door for sure.
Space-wise, yes.
Yes, but like, would the door keep floating if you put a second person on there?
I'm actually with you on this. I don't think it would.
Right?
Wouldn't.
Because she was perfectly in the middle.
Right.
If she scoots over, that
Let
side's
somebody
leaning.
else in.
Jack hops on, that side's
Yeah.
leaning. If the middle goes under, you're screwed.
Right.
So I actually agree with you.
Right?
Also,
Okay.
like, Jack
I'm
didn't
not trying
try
to
too hard to
defend
get on the door
Rose.
anyways.
Yeah. I'm not trying to
He didn't want it
defend
bad enough.
Rose, but
Yeah. Jack needs to put in a little bit more effort. He did
because
not try.
I still think she's kind of a bad person because like you cheated on your. Were they married? You
No.
cheated on
yeah,
your
no,
rich.
she was married. Yes.
Yeah, you cheated on your rich husband with like some poor guy that you found on the Titanic.
Whoa.
That's like he snuck on there. He
Hey,
was like a criminal.
that's called adventurous. He's adventurous. You know, they're like a little adventurous guy.
You still cheated on your husband.
He did do a very tasteful nude painting of her on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she loved that. She loved it. That's
Yeah, I
what it
don't
was.
know.
The rich guy couldn't do that. He's touching where he couldn't reach.
You've obviously seen it. Have you seen Titanic?
Yes.
You have? Did you like it?
I mean, it's a little corny now. A little corny. Not gonna lie.
People give me hate for it. Titanic sucks.
Yeah, I'm about to say it's corny.
It's a little too long.
It's like 3.5 hours
too
long.
long.
Yeah, I'm about to say
Like, guys, the ship sunk. It was based on a true story. We know.
Yeah.
Let's get to the point here.
It's just a
I don't
like I
need
said-
to watch Jack and Rose chasing each other around the Titanic with romantic music playing. I'm good. I don't need that for 20 minutes.
The 1914, the 14, whatever.
Let's cut a little
1910s.
bit out of this movie, please.
Yeah.
I got places to be. I think Titanic sucks.
Look, ask the bench in here. I'm gonna ask you guys. Oh yeah, ask the bench. Yes. I said ask the bench. Don't do that. Don't do
mailbag.
that. Don't do
OTB
that.
mailbag.
This is a completely
Yeah.
different segment.
All right, look.
This is
OTB
a different
mailbag.
segment. This is not the same as Ask the Bench.
Well, look, OTB mailbag.
Yeah.
Where is the cutoff for like the longest movie? What do you feel like is just too long for you?
Oh, 2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours?
Like at the dot, 2 hours at the dot?
Anything over 2 hours, I got to do my research and be like, this better be a good movie.
I don't
Okay,
know.
2 hours for you? What about you, Alondra?
I don't
It's
know.
too
It
long.
depends. It depends. Like if it's like 2.5 or more, that might be a little too long. I
Okay.
can do 2.5.
I can do 2.5.
I don't know, because like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese movies are really long, and those
Yeah.
are
Yep.
like the best movies.
They are.
So like The Godfather is really long.
Oh my goodness.
Godfather is long.
You can go to
So-
sleep in The Godfather, wake up.
Godfather 2 is super
go to
long.
sleep.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I will say, like,
2.5 for you.
I
Maybe.
hate long movies, but like I love The Revenant with Leo DiCaprio.
Okay.
I love Shawshank Redemption. Like both of those movies are well over 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like it depends
It
on the movie.
depends.
If a movie is good
gotta
enough to
want
keep
it bad
my
enough
attention, I don't care how long it is.
Yeah.
But there's some movies where it's like it's really good the
Like, get
first
to the point,
45
wrap it up,
minutes.
yeah.
We're gonna take a 30-minute lull where nothing happens, and then you have another hour. Like just take that 30-minute lull out, man. I'm watching this movie to be entertained. I don't want to doze in and all halfway through
Inglourious
the movie.
Bastards is 2.5 hours, and it never feels two and a
Doesn't
half
feel like
hours
it.
to me.
Doesn't feel
Yeah.
like it. Another movie, The Patriot, with Mel Gibson. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
It's like almost 3 hours. Really good though. I mean, it's about the Revolutionary War. It keeps you engaged the whole time. Really good movie.
Yeah.
So my cutoff would, you seen The Irishman? Or y'all know the movie The Irishman?
I
do.
never saw it.
It's like
no.
3 hours. Like that's where I feel like
That movie was too long.
That's too long.
Yeah.
The
Way
Irishman was too long.
Way
It,
too
it
long
had
for
too
me.
many lulls in it.
Yeah.
Too long.
It had way too many lulls in it.
It depends.
Depends. How bad I want to see the movie. That's where it depends. That's where I'm drawing a line.
Yeah.
Like, if I really want to see this, like Avengers a couple times was close to 3 hours. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know what? If I really want to see it that bad, I'll sit through it.
Hashtag mailbag. What state has the weirdest people? Easily California.
Yeah.
This is probably the easiest question that's ever been asked.
Yeah.
Utah. Utah is my vote. Utah's my
You know, I've heard that. I've never been to Utah, but I have
Never
heard
been
that. I'm going to go California. Have I ever been to California? Nope. Do I plan on going to California? Nope. Because I know what kind of people are in California. I'm good. Not my vibe at all. California, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn, two
Weirdos
Calis?
up in Cali.
Cali's weird, dude.
I like,
Not only is Cali weird though, but like the way of life, the population, everything changes from like Northern California is like rural wine country and all that. Southern California is like what you see on TV. Big buildings, you have beaches and all that. So like it's a diverse state, no doubt about it. But it's just like I don't know what part of California I want to visit. I always assumed Northern California was more my vibe, but it's like
No,
so like
San Francisco, you would hate San Francisco.
San Francisco's not Northern California, Jordan.
Well, I'm more talking. That's like the Bay Area.
No, I'm talking north,
Oh,
like
like-
Northern
like-
California.
Okay, so Rose was not married. She was engaged, but still you cheated
same
on
thing.
your
Same thing.
fiance.
Yeah.
And you know what? I bet they still got to get. Do we know if they actually went through with the marriage?
I don't remember.
We
I
talking about
bet she
Titanic?
did.
Yeah.
I bet she did.
Movie long enough.
I
though.
bet
They're
Rose.
kinda in
I
there.
bet Rose got a bag. Bet she got a bag at the end
But
of that
there's
movie.
like nothing that you can tell me that makes me think that she didn't like cheat on her fiance, and I don't think like it. Sure, it was arranged, but you still, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's like you're not even bored with the marriage at that point. It hasn't even happened yet. Think about 5-10 years down the road when she's bored being married to the same person. Like think about how much running around Rose is gonna do that day.
Right.
Right? Like I'm out on Rose. I'm out on Rose. Was she wrong for not letting him on the thing? Again, I don't think so. I don't think he tried very hard to get on it. But
this
like
Titanic movie expert in the chat is saying that Jack did. See, I haven't seen the movie in forever because again, really long, couldn't deal with it. He also says that Jack didn't want to get on the door, and like that's fine.
He didn't.
Yeah, and that's fine. So like, I'm still wondering why are we saying that like she didn't let him? I don't know.
Because people looked at it and was like, that's big enough for two people. But to your
Yeah.
point, they didn't take into consideration the door 100% sinks.
Right.
Like, okay, imagine that's Jack and Rose. Jack was not a very big guy. Rose is a woman. Imagine me and T-Bob trying to fit on the same door.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Not happening, guys.
It's not happening.
That thing is sinking quicker than Nico Iamaliava's transfer portal stop. Like, I mean, that door is sinking so quick, it's not even funny.
He might be eating beignets soon.
Yeah. Taylor went on his bachelor trip to Cleveland, Ohio. Guys, for the maybe 1,000th time on this show, I did not go on a bachelor trip to Cleveland, Ohio.
Your bachelor trip was in Cleveland,
No,
Ohio.
it was not. It was not in Cleveland, Ohio.
He was passing through.
No. You know what I did in Cleveland, Ohio?
Yeah.
Landed at the airport and came back and flew out of the airport. Yeah. That is the extension of the time that I have spent in the city of Cleveland, Ohio.
Was your bachelor party in Ohio or not?
Yes.
Okay.
But was not in Cleveland. That's like me,
You were like in the suburb of
That's
Cleveland.
like me driving to Shreveport and Jordan be like, hey, I was in New Orleans this weekend. Like, guys, it's two completely different cities. I was over an hour away from Cleveland. Wasn't exactly close. Yeah, I flew into Cleveland and then flew out of Cleveland. Yeah, no, our bachelor trip was not in Cleveland. Let me tell you from somebody who's
It was in
passed
Ohio.
through Cleveland. Cleveland sucks. I wouldn't go to Cleveland recreationally. There's nothing there. My bachelor trip was not in Cleveland.
What's
It
the next
happened
city I
to
wanna
be
go
in
to
the
then?
same perimeter of the state of Ohio. Doesn't mean it was in Cleveland.
You're not like really helping your case though.
Yes, I am.
Well, what's the next city you want to visit that y'all like in America? Next city that you would like to visit? That
I'm
you
going to
haven't been yet?
Newport.
No. I want to hear like I've been there before. Like
No, she's
you
going.
like-
She's
going to
literally leaving
Newport
tomorrow.
That's where you really want to go?
She's
Yeah,
going.
I actually am really excited to go. Yeah, I'm
Where's-
going
I
to
don't know where's
Newport
that.
tomorrow.
Where's Newport?
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Oh, that's far. God damn.
She's not driving, Jordan.
I'm not driving.
That's far. It's still a far flight.
Yeah, but she's not flying.
Don't
I mean,
get
she's
me
not driving,
started
dude.
on these flights.
That's probably that's gonna take like 2.5 hours.
Flight?
It's going to take 2-hour flight to Charlotte and then a 2-hour flight to Providence.
There you
And
go.
then I have to take a 40-minute cab to Newport.
Okay, so she broke
I'm
broke
gonna
it
need
broke it up into
a
two
few
flights. Jordan.
drinks when I get home.
Broke it up into 2 flights, 2 hours
Well,
piece.
you know,
Yeah.
it depends on the layover too.
So like, okay,
How long the layover?
It's not that long of a layover.
we went on our honeymoon. We went to Aruba, like one of the Caribbean islands or whatever. I'm
Like
thinking to
Mexico?
myself, like, no, it's in the Caribbean.
I'm thinking
It's like
Cancun.
past Cuba and all that. I'm thinking like this is gonna be like a 6-hour flight. It was a little under 3 from here to Miami, which was my connector, and then Miami to Aruba was like 2.5. It's not as far as you think.
Man, I just know when I went to Seattle, that was like a 5-6 hour flight, and I was like,
But was it
dude, I'm
nonstop?
Yeah, if I'm not, I'm trying to think.
See, that's the thing. Like mine was broken. Mine
It
would have
was
been 5
nonstop.
hours, but it was broken up into 2. So
Yeah,
I
we
basically
didn't-
flew
we
2.5
didn't have a
hours twice.
layover. I think we went straight to Seattle. I think we had a layover when we went to California. Seattle was like straight through, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think like hour 4 or 5. I'm like, dude, get me off this plane, man. Oh my gosh.
All right, that'll do it for OTB Mailbag. Got a lot of fun there in that segment. We'll take a quick timeout. When we get back, we were going to have Zach Nagy at 8:30. We're actually going to push him to 8:45. So this next segment, we're going to come back. Got some thoughts on Nico Iamaleava. I owe him a little bit of an apology. And we're going to ask Alondra maybe what she's into in the Newport area. She is leaving me, and I will be the sole remaining member of OTB for the rest of the week. That's all coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the bench.
Go to trashrangers.com, guys. You need somebody who's going to handle your trash pickup. You want Trash Rangers. And if you're a business owner anywhere in the listening area, Trash Rangers, we got your back, man. As a local business, we understand the variable needs of being a local business, and we can meet them. You want front load dumpsters emptied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 days a week, we got you. If you need a big roll-off dumpster for a giant project, 15, 20, 30 yards, again, we got you. So go to trashrangers.com today and make the switch.
225-363-9053. That is the number. Like T-Bob said, 3 different sizes of roll-off dumpsters to choose from for your project. They'll make sure you have the right one. Trashrangers.com.
You work hard every day to pursue a life you love. You put in the time, and it shows. You're forging ahead, chasing a dream, creating something better for the ones you love. You're building your own life. So why not build your own tractor? With John Deere tractors and attachments for almost any need, the Sunshine team can help you do just that. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
It's not just a game. It's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews.
Back to sports talk. Maybe. Off the bench.
Welcome back in. Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, filling in for Jacob Esther and T-Bob Hebert. We got Alondra Villarreal and Jordan Kitchens along for the ride as well. Guys, if you tuned in yesterday, I gave my thoughts on Nico Iamaleava and the Tennessee Volunteers, and Tennessee ultimately deciding to move on from their starting quarterback. They say it takes a big man to apologize sometimes, guys. And I'm going to do it. Because yesterday I sat up here and I said, well, Notre Dame's always a possibility. Maybe even Florida State. Who knows? Maybe those are possibilities for Nico Iamaleava. And I want to apologize to Nico right now because I gave him too much credit yesterday, guys. Did we see the 3 schools that Nico's looking at right now?
UCLA, Tulane, and I don't know what the third one
The North Carolina Tar Heels.
Shout out Bill Belichick.
Well, that's kind of my point. No way in hell is Bill Belichick bringing in Nico Iamaleava. We can go ahead and cross out the Tar Heels. You think hard-nosed Bill Belichick, who's been there, done that's bringing in Nico Iamaleava after what he just pulled leaving Tennessee? Absolutely not. So you got UCLA, and you can say, okay, well, Tulane's had a good program. Yeah, Darian Mensah was a better quarterback last year than Nico. Nico's going to go from Tennessee, who was in the college football playoff, to Tulane. And then on the flip side of things, Tulane's downgrading from Darian Mensah to Nico Iamaleava. Or you can go out west to UCLA when no one goes to your games. You can be the bottom feeder in the Big Ten Conference, and you can call it a day. And you can be happy making $2.5, $3 million a year, whatever they're going to decide to give you. Because UCLA is that desperate for a quarterback. I know where you're not going. You're not going to Ohio State. You're not going to Georgia. You're not going to Michigan, Oregon, LSU. You're not going to any of the programs that are considered college football playoff contenders this year. You know who was in the college football playoff? Tennessee just last year. And, you've heard this report that came out yesterday afternoon, that a couple of players on Tennessee's team actually considered sitting out the college football playoff game. Not a bowl game that doesn't matter, a college football playoff game. The one they played against Ohio State, they considered sitting out. One of which was Nico Iamaleava, but there were multiple starters who considered sitting out in order to get more money in the middle of the season. Look, I don't know this guy personally. He might be a great kid. I have no idea. Unfortunately, though, sometimes somebody has to be made an example of. Maybe it's Nico, because stuff like this has to end. It's one thing to say, oh, well, pay for play. You can be for it. You can be against it. I don't really care. But to threaten to sit out a college football playoff game because you want more money, you think you've outplayed your NIL deal that you got at the beginning of the season, that's insane. Okay, for example, let's say the Saints would have made the playoffs last year. Obviously, we're doing a hypothetical. And Alvin Kamara has a great year, thinks he deserves more money. And Alvin Kamara's like, you know what? I'm good. I'm not going to play in the playoff game. That's not going to fly in the NFL. Somehow you can maybe get away with it in college football. The point is everybody's like, oh, well, it happens in the NFL. One, college is not the NFL. NFL are professionals. Which, look, you want to be paid like a professional, you're going to get treated like a professional. At least in my eyes. Secondly, NFL can't do that. You have signed contracts. You don't have any of that in college football. It does tell me two things. One, Tennessee had a culture problem. And two, maybe Josh Heupel was a little bit to blame. I gave Josh Heupel a lot of credit yesterday, but the fact that multiple starters considered sitting out of a college football playoff game tells me a lot I need to know about the culture in that locker room. Honestly, though, maybe Nico should have sat out that college football playoff game. Maybe they would have a better chance. This is Nico Iamaleava's numbers against Ohio State in that college football playoff game. 14 of 31. Good for 45% completion, 104 yards, no touchdowns. Now, he did have 2 rushing touchdowns, but it was only on about 30 yards rushing. That's what Nico Iamaleava did, and Ohio State housed you 42-17. I don't know who is advising Nico Iamaleava. You got bad advice. Unfortunately, you're seeing that right now, and look, nothing's happened yet. There may be a school that jumps into the mix, but Nico might pay the consequences for some bad advice. Sometimes that happens. It's unfortunate, but you demanded a lot more money than what you were worth. I broke it down yesterday. About 2,900 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks. That's an average to below average college quarterback right now in terms of how offensive friendly it is. There were some LSU fans that wanted to run Garrett Nussmeier out of town after that 3-game skid. And look, I get it. Garrett had some turnovers, but Garrett Nussmeier's numbers were way better than Nico Iamaleava, and Garrett Nussmeier didn't threaten to sit out last week and demand more money. That didn't happen. Nico Iamaleava did it. You didn't hear anybody at Ohio State, or you didn't see Bryce Underwood get on campus and say, okay, well, maybe he's the leader in our quarterback competition. Okay, yeah, that $3 million you guys gave me out of high school, number just went up since I might be the starter. It didn't happen. A lot of different players could have done that. Nico's the one that did it. And unfortunately for him, he's kind of paying the price for it right now. Is it UCLA? Is it Tulane? Is it North Carolina? I don't think there's any chance it's North Carolina. You had a good thing at Tennessee. You're going to have a strong team once again. You're coming off a college football playoff appearance. And now it's gone. It'll be interesting to see the next chapter in the Nico Iamaleava saga, but we'll certainly be watching it and give you updates as more comes out. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, Zach Nagy is going to hop on with us and talk some LSU spring football. That's coming up next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further. like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
Landry and Taylor hanging out there real quick before we get to weekend winners. Remind you, our friends at Tommy's Winners Doors and Siding, GEAUXTommys.com, GEAUXTommys.com. That Hardy Play Gravado Siding, winter vinyl windows. You need any type of door. You want energy efficient options that save you money and pay for themselves over time. You want lifetime warranties. You want Tommy's Winners. 8 years now of the Angie's Service Award that goes to places that provide spectacular customer service to their customers. There you go. Tommy's Winners Service at GEAUXTommys.com. All right, let's do a little weekend winners.
Well, we already did weekend winners. That was on Monday, but thank you so much, T-Bob, for the most random live reads we could possibly get. Me and Alondra were talking about it yesterday. Like, the next time either T-Bob's out, Jake's out, they're both out, and we have a fill-in host, like, we're just going to get Jake after the show when he comes back to record generic spots for every single one of our commercials. So T-Bob's not talking about leaving your car on the side of the road or me needing to visit Goodwood or doing weekend winners there on a Tuesday. Like, that's just, that's who T-Bob is. That's what others love about him. It's what makes me angry about T-Bob. So that's kind of where we're at on that. I got to tell you, though, guys, I'm kind of ready for my guys to be back. I kind of am. Yeah. I appreciate it. I don't mind doing this. I actually enjoy doing this. We're having a good time this morning, but I'm a person of habit. I'm someone who's always in a routine, right? And it's like when something changes, like, cause okay, I'm always here this time for this show anyways. Essentially, though, today, everything I do after this show changes. Like, nothing in here really changes. I mean, yeah, I'm in like a slightly different spot, but like everything else is pretty much the exact same. Yeah. But like, I'm texting Jesse yesterday. I'm like, hey, can you make a short for me? I'm like, oh, do you have this? And Cassie's like, do you need to make thumbnails? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm also show prepping for tomorrow. Like, I enjoy it, but it's like, I'm ready to have them back.
It's not my job.
Ready to have my guys back, man. I'm excited. I love doing this. But speaking of being out, Alondra,
yeah,
you're leaving me.
I know.
Guys.
And this wasn't planned, by the way.
No, it wasn't. What happened was Alondra found out she was going to have to be with me, and she's like, I can't do it for more than 2 days.
I need to also leave.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Victoria threatens to leave twice a week.
I mean,
no, I'm just kidding.
I don't blame her at all. If she ever needs a place to stay, I got her.
Newport.
Yeah.
Newport, Rhode Island.
Yes.
Okay. What are we doing? Do we have any plans that are already nailed down?
So I'm really excited about this. We're going to go to this place called White Horse Tavern.
Okay. Is this the place you showed me? It's like really old.
Yes. It is allegedly the oldest tavern in America.
I got no reason to believe it's not.
So I'm very excited about that. They have this thing. The only thing I'm not excited about is it's still like really cold out there. I think the high for one day is like 61 and it's in the 50s. The high is in the 50s for the rest of the time I'm going to be there. So it's still cold out there. And then plus it's the ocean. So it's going to be extra cold, I feel like.
It's going to be windy.
Yeah. But I'm excited. It's beautiful over there from the pictures that I've seen. And they have this thing called the Cliff Walk that I'm going to try to convince
I'm looking at it right now.
the people with me to do it. But if not, like, I don't have an issue doing it by myself. So I'm going to Cliff Walk for sure.
Okay, we're going to do a mansion tour.
Yes, we're doing a mansion tour because the Vanderbilts built a bunch of mansions.
Look, I'm just looking up big things to do in Newport,
Rhode Island. We're actually staying at the Vanderbilt, which is one of the mansions that they built. But yeah,
a little bougie.
That's one of the big things that you do when you go to Newport is go on a mansion tour because there's a bunch of them there.
There's a mansion ghost tour. Are we doing it?
Ooh, now we are.
There's a mansion ghost tour.
Yes.
I think that it seems like you're going to do a lot of hiking. Maybe.
Yeah, probably mostly eating and drinking.
Okay. I need you to go on to do one of these little dinner and wine things on a sailboat. It seems to be another popular
it's too cold.
thing.
It's too cold to be on a sailboat.
Well,
I'm not going to do it.
Okay, what about a trolley tour?
I don't know.
We doing that?
I think I want to minimize my time outdoors.
Okay, wineries and breweries?
I'm down for a winery.
Those are probably indoors?
Yeah.
See, me and Victoria needs to go here. She loves wine.
Yeah.
I love breweries.
Right.
We could just kind of split up, meet
Yeah.
back in the middle. That would be great for her. You're gonna have to let me know how this goes. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, remember we went to Montana last summer?
Mhm.
That was for Victoria's birthday. Well, what I did, I got together like 20 different places. We played like Deal or No Deal style. I was like, all right, eliminate one. I opened it up. I'm like, you missed out on this. But Montana and Yellowstone is where she wanted to go.
Yeah.
This area, like I think I did more like Cape Cod, but like they're all kind of right up there in that area.
Yeah, like the New England.
Yeah.
That Hamptons kind of thing. Yeah.
That was one of the options. I've always wanted to visit like the New England beach area, whether it's Newport, Cape Cod,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
I'm
So
for
you're gonna
sure getting a lobster roll.
So
like I'm getting a lobster
my
roll.
sister got one in Boston.
Yeah.
Maybe last fall, and like she was like, it's the best thing I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, our lobster down here sucks because we don't know how to cook it properly.
Right.
Just like their crawfish up there
I was gonna say, I
sucks
wonder
because
if
they
they
don't know
got
how to do it.
crawfish.
If they do, they have to ship it in. I don't think
Yeah.
crawfish are up there. I
Yeah,
wouldn't think,
probably
right?
not.
I mean,
Probably
that's
not.
yeah. I don't think they have like the ecosystem for that. But
Yeah.
that's Alondra's going to Newport. We'll be back on Monday. But or do we have a layover?
Yeah.
Where are we flying into?
Charlotte, and then Providence.
Okay. It's Providence, Rhode Island. 40-minute
40-minute cab ride or Uber ride, whatever, to Newport.
You
after
paying for
that.
the Uber?
Yeah. Or cab, whatever it is.
It's gonna be a hefty Uber, cab, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't envy you on that.
It's fine.
Okay, look, what we're doing in hour number 3. I told you guys we were supposed to have Zach Nagy here. Full disclosure, Zach is actually out at LSU practice. He texted me, hey, I'm not going to be out till like 8:49, 8:50. They ran a little long. I was like, you know what? We'll push it to tomorrow, so we'll have Zach on tomorrow. I was like, I don't want to have you on for like 4 minutes and then be done with it because he's been out there at practice. He's out there at the scrimmage. There's a lot I want to chop up with him about. So Zach will actually hop on tomorrow. In hour number 3, we have Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football. He's hopping on in his normal spot at 9 a.m. Look, we're going to get his thoughts on the Derek Carr injury, find out maybe if the Saints' draft has changed now, their draft board in the first round. Is Shedeur Sanders the guy? Is he not? We'll talk about some late-round prospects there as well. You know, Nick is as well-connected as anybody out there in terms of covering the New Orleans Saints. Colin Hurley was actually back at LSU at the scrimmage on Saturday. Didn't practice, but he did return to the Tigers. I'll tell you what that means and what that means for the LSU quarterback room. And then LSU beach volleyball coach Russell Brock is actually going to hop on the show with us at 9:30. We'll get some thoughts from him. Me and my wife actually went out to the beach volleyball thing on Saturday, their match against UNO. It was a great time. They got a championship coming up. We'll kind of preview that a little bit. And then we'll close it out with Ask the Bench. So a busy hour 3 coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. That's coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Good morning, Baton Rouge. Hour 3 of OTB starting off. We have the one and only Nick Underhill, top of the hour. It's sunny outside. Just go see for yourself. Also, we're going to talk a little bit of Ask the Bench and maybe a little bit of more Saints news. So stay tuned for hour number 3 of OTB. Starts now.
Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, they said I gotta come off the bench.
Now, here's Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Welcome back in. 9 o'clock hour Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you, sitting in for Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. It's Tuesday at 9 a.m. We do it every week at this time. Let's welcome in right now Nick Underhill of New Orleans.Football. Nick, how are you this morning?
So it takes two guys to do what you can do solo. I see how it goes.
I tell myself that all the time, Nick. It's one of those things where I'm like, I can handle this. Jake and T-Bob without each other, they're lost. They're like a lost puppy. They're searching for answers. But yeah, we are here. We were rocking and rolling all week. Nick, we got a little bit to talk about, don't we? I mean, a little bit of news happened over the weekend with the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, I'm referring to Derek Carr and this shoulder injury that, there's, news about, but, not a lot of news. The Saints aren't saying a ton, but, I mean, what was your initial reaction when you heard about this? I mean, possibly 2025 season in doubt. What are your thoughts on that?
First thought was, oh my God. Second thought was, what a disaster. I mean, it's just not a normal situation. I mean, this isn't something that you typically see happen where someone is, pushing to be traded and or released, which would indicate that they believe their body's in good shape. Because, I mean, the way it works is you take a physical when the season ends, and then you take a physical when you come back, and then, if anything happens in between there, you got to be able to explain it. And a lot of times, if something happens, it's away from the game. The thing with Derek is the injury is apparently lingering from the 2023 AC joint. Played through it all last year, and now it's an issue that apparently needs surgery after a contentious standoff about how to move forward with his future with the team. It's always definitely possible he goes out there sometime in March, goes to throw a ball, and this hurts. But it's also certainly possible that, a guy that wasn't happy about having his contract, not being let out of his contract now has an injury. I mean, it looks a certain way. It's impossible to look at this and not wonder if there's a standoff here where he's still trying to get himself released from this contract.
Nick, there's been a lot of discussion about how did this happen? When did the Saints find out about this? Did they have an idea something like this was coming when they were restructuring?
No, I mean, definitely not. And I mean, Derek didn't either. I mean, that's the thing that I would say is Derek definitely did not either, because up until March 8th, I mean, look, they were pushing behind the scenes hard to get out of this thing, willing to change the contract structure, lower the base salary to facilitate a release, because you can do the June 2nd release. So hey, look, I'll cut my base salary down, and that way you can carry it, and then it comes off your books on June 2nd or changes. He was willing to do that kind of stuff, and they had decided they wanted to move forward with him as our quarterback. He's under contract, and that's where it's at. But if you're trying to get out of your contract and you think you need season-ending surgery, those two things don't make sense when you put them together, because you got to go, if you're going to Seattle or wherever, they're going to do a physical, you're going to fail it. Now you're not under contract, You aren't getting money, and you aren't getting money from somebody else. So this was not an issue for anybody. If it was, it would be a very, very bizarre situation for him to be trying to get out of his contract knowing he needed this done. So I don't think this was an issue for anybody as of, the morning of March 8th before this contract got done.
So Nick Underhill joining us right now. As far as moving forward, from this injury, in your opinion, does this change what the Saints do in the first round? Because, I mean, a lot of you heard it right after the injury. Everyone's like, oh, well, you got to take Shedeur Sanders. And then the other half was like, just stick to your draft board. Where are you at with that? What do you think the Saints would do now at 9?
I don't think it changes a lot. I mean, I think they were in the quarterback market. I would still be surprised by Shadur or Dart at 9. I still don't see those happening. I still haven't heard anything to make me believe those things are happening. I mean, it's certainly possible that there was a smoke screen going on the whole time, and that does occur, but I just don't see it happening at this point. I don't think it should drastically, and as crazy as it sounds, like I don't think it should drastically change what you were going to do. If you didn't like a player before, you still shouldn't like that player now, and the guys you liked before, you should still like them now. The thing I vehemently disagree with is it's like, people be like, well, now they have to take Dart. It wouldn't be a reach, and it's like, well, no, that is reaching. That's literally what reaching is because you have a need, and then you go take a guy that you wouldn't have taken otherwise. I think that's how mistakes get made. But if they like one of these guys, I mean, I think you're definitely inclined to take them. If you have no quarterback, I think you have to be willing to stretch a little bit. I think if you chuck it 40 and you have a path to get them at 20, I mean, I think you got to be willing to kind of look at some of those things and be willing to go a little bit more aggressive. But I don't think it should just be this, don't have a quarterback, have to do something, act from desperation, because I think honestly those motivators are the reason that you have Derek Carr on your team, is because you felt insecure about not having a quarterback. You felt like you had to get a quarterback. One was available and you were willing to do whatever it took. I mean, that's almost the same thing that led him to Watson at one point. I would hope that those feelings aren't the things that are dictating their actions this time around.
So if it's not Derek Carr in 2025 and they don't draft Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart at 9, what did the Saints do? I mean, because the free agent market, Nick, it doesn't look great right now. Would they just roll with Spencer Rattler for another year?
Yeah, or I think they draft Shuck.
Okay. And that would be at 40?
I think it could be somewhere in the first. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm hearing from people that he's going to go way, way, way higher.
He is that guy that is just shooting up draft boards in the last week and a half. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I heard from a non-Saints team last night that they think he goes in the top 20. I think he's the guy that people aren't talking about enough, haven't been talking about enough. He's kind of that name that was hey, look, I think teams like him more than everybody else does. Coaches get involved. People start getting changed on draft boards. I think he's somebody. I think if you want him, you need to be prepared to find a way to make that move within the first 20 or so picks. I don't think he's going to be sitting there when they're on the board at 40. Nick, as far as moving away from quarterback a little bit, Nick Underhill of New Orleans Football joining us right now. Everyone's talked about, okay, you need an offensive weapon here at number 9. And let's say they take that, but running back and wide receivers seem to be two of the deeper positions in this draft. So let's say they don't take a wide receiver or a running back at 9. Are there some guys maybe second round and a 1 that you like at those spots?
Yeah, I like the guy from Stanford. He's a big bodied type of guy. I think that's the type of player that they need to get at one of those spots. In the third, maybe Trey Harris, from Ole Miss. There's a bunch of guys that I think you'll be good at that position. Same with running back too. I mean, I think this is a draft where you can probably get one in the 4th round that's really, really good. I do think though that if the Raiders go, O-line, D-line, or quarterback, and Genty ends up getting to 9, I think that's a very, very extremely, extremely, extremely real possibility at that spot. I think they really like him, and everybody has their school of thought on that position. Generally, I'm a weight guy, but I think he's a freak, and I would be in support of that pick, honestly, at that spot, especially if you are starting Rattler. I mean, if you need, or obviously whoever they're starting isn't going to be a surefire thing at quarterback. I think that's the fastest way to maybe make life a little bit easier for your young player at that position. It's not Ty Warren, I think, is still a distinct possibility at that position. Banks, the tackle, I think is a distinct possibility at that spot. So, I mean, I think they're going to end up with a good player. But, yeah, I'm kind of thinking wide receiver is going to be 2nd, 3rd round. I do wonder if the quarterback injury, I think where it might really affect their draft plans is I thought 40 was a deadlock for sure. That's where they go get their cornerback. Now it kind of feels like do you need to do something to make sure things are a little bit easier for your quarterback? Like, is 40 that sweet spot for the receiver now? Do you try to make that move there? I think it's things like that really change the draft strategy.
Nick, we've talked, whether it's Genty, McMillan, Tyler Warren, Mason Graham's been talked about, Will Johnson. Like, everybody's like, okay, the Saints are so bad in so many spots. Like, you almost can't get it wrong in the first round position-wise. But, like, maybe not player in general, but, like, is there a position where you're like, if the Saints did that at number 9, like, it really wouldn't inspire me that much?
It's a good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, maybe safety, like safety would feel like a reach. Definitely guard. Like, I definitely don't want the interior offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like, that would be the spot that, like, would be disgusting to me, because even if you're a Hall of Famer, it's just like you'd still take the 25th best wide receiver over, the Colts guard. What the hell is his name? He's going to the Hall of Fame, though. But
Quentin Nelson.
Yeah. Like, you would definitely probably take the 25th best receiver over him every single day of the week. Like, it's just not a high impact position. Corner in this draft, like, Will Johnson not running the 40 is kind of terrifying. Like, that seems like an admission that, like, hey, yes, I am slow. If you aren't just playing straight zone schemes all the time, you better not draft me. So, like, maybe not corner if you don't feel great about the position, this year's draft class. But I think they can do pretty much anything at that spot, and you could justify it. I mean, you could even justify, like, a great guard, at that spot. I mean, it's just that's just where the roster's at. They're just on a lot of great players, and really more than anything, I just want to see them get some guys that can play. Like, you just need so many bodies. It really does feel like a draft where you should just sit there and just pick the best player at the top of your board every time. Who gives a damn about need? Because everything's going to be a need over the next 24 months. So you might as well just get the best players and figure it out along the way.
Nick, you just mentioned that, if you took interior O-line in the first round, like that's maybe the spot you would caution the most. Like, what are the chances they actually address O-line in this draft? I'm not talking first round, but, like, some of those late round prospects.
I think huge. I mean, honestly, I think even in the first round, if the right tackle's there, I really do think that could be the pick. Not, obviously that's not interior, but Heading's in the last year of that deal. Hasn't worked out. It is a spot where you need to really look at it. It would be gross and horrible and awful. Like, if they got to spend another pick on the offensive line to replace somebody else that didn't work out. But, I mean, that's just where you're at. I mean, and that's just the reality of the situation. And if that right opportunity is there, I think they could do it. Again, somewhere they got they got a lot of picks first, second, third, fourth round. Like, I think one of those ends up being a guard. I think it has to be a guard. That's a position where they should really be looking at things. And, I think O-line's going to be a priority. I almost feel like Kellen Moore's tipped it a little bit. Like, it's come up a lot every time he's talked about his philosophy for building a team is really about building out the trenches. I think it's going to be a priority in this draft.
Nick, as far as safety goes, like, I think that's a big need for the Saints in this draft, and safety seems to be one of the deeper spots. Like, do you like safety in this draft for the Saints?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, Tyron's, probably coming up on the end of it, a year or two left on, the career.
Yeah.
Definitely something they need to get in the pipeline. I don't see the young players behind him and Reed really at this point. There's a couple. Howard, obviously, still somebody that could have everything click for him, but it didn't really happen quite last year. I think absolutely. That's a position where you want to get a guy in. And honestly, I'd want to get my guy a year early, wherever you think Tyron's at in his timeline. Like, if you feel like this is the last year or whatever, I want that guy, like, around him for a year to learn how to be a pro, to see how he prepares, see how he takes care of his body, how he studies, how he leads. Like, I want that exposure around him. I mean, just on that, but I think they need the depth at that position too. Definitely a spot where they need to look for somebody.
Nick Underhill, Nick_Underhill on Twitter, NewOrleans.football. Subscribe there for all things related to the Saints. Nick, thanks so much for hopping on with us this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That was Nick Underhill. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, at LSU spring scrimmage, he didn't participate, but the reports are that Colin Hurley has actually rejoined LSU. You remember the car accident where he was injured. He has been rehabbing since. He was in the building this weekend. We'll talk about maybe what that means for the LSU quarterback room coming up in 2025. That's coming up next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Bend Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work.
Welcome back in, Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. Taylor Sharp here with you. If you're wondering why there was no bump music, Alondra quit mid-show. That's exactly what happened. No, look, there's a slight problem with the board. Certain pots won't turn on and off. Not a big deal. Not something you guys need to worry about. Well, the show will go on. But as I mentioned before we went to break there, Colin Hurley had returned to Baton Rouge this weekend. He was at the LSU scrimmage on Saturday. Now, he did not participate. If you remember, Hurley's the redshirt freshman quarterback. He was injured in that single car accident back on January 16th. He was found unresponsive at the scene, and he had to rehab a little bit. He went to the hospital once he was released. He returned to his home in Jacksonville to recover. He did not participate in spring drills, but he was able to travel to Baton Rouge to be with the team this weekend. So if everything continues to trend in the right direction, you'll maybe see, hey, could Colin Hurley return to this football team in the fall for the 2025 football season? I would love for him to stick around and compete with Michael Van Buren, not just for the backup spot this year, but in 2026, after Garrett Nussmeier moves on, I would like to see Colin Hurley still a part of this football team and compete for the starting job. Now, I love his ability as a passer. He's a guy that I was high on coming out of high school. If you remembered, he reclassified. So when he joined the team, he was actually only 16 when he got to LSU. So this will technically be his real freshman season, because last year he technically should have still been a senior in high school. So you have Garrett Nussmeier. You brought in Michael Van Buren in the transfer portal. But if Colin Hurley is back and he's fully healthy and you think that you can rely on him if you need to, what does this mean for Juwan Johnson? We know about Juwan Johnson coming out of high school. Look, in that recruiting class, Kelly had that press conference on signing day. One of the first names he mentioned about favorite players in that draft class was Juwan Johnson. He was an incredible two-way player in high school. He led his team to back-to-back state championship appearances at Lafayette Christian. He has a state record, 14,451 total yards and 171 total touchdowns. Both of those are records. He was named Mr. Football in Louisiana for 2023. He had 457 total yards, 3 rushing touchdowns in the 2023 state title game against St. Thomas More that they lost his senior year. As a junior in 22, 595 yards and 5 touchdowns. Once again lost to St. Thomas More. We all talk about Brock Berlin as one of the best quarterbacks to ever come through the state of Louisiana. Brock Berlin had the Louisiana record for total offense, but Juwan Johnson broke that in a state quarterfinal win. He also broke Nick Brissett's Louisiana record for total touchdowns. Both of those guys, Brock Berlin and Nick Brissett, went on to have college careers. So I like Juwan Johnson. I think he's a heck of an athlete. But if you remember, he played both ways in high school, and he was recruited here as a corner. Last fall, media was allowed to go to a lot of fall practices. I was personally out there. If you remember, Major Burns played that star role. With the twos, that second group, as a freshman, Juwan Johnson was in that 2 deep at that star position. He was the primary backup in fall camp to Major Burns, and he looked really good. He made some plays at star. Of course, though, John Emery gets hurt once again after that first game of the year against USC out of necessity because Caden Durham had yet to come on yet, so it was really Josh Williams, Caleb Jackson, an unknown, and Caden Durham. That was your running back room. So you moved over Juwan Johnson out of necessity. Now, in spring, Juwan Johnson is playing the quarterback position. No, he's not wearing the no-contact jersey, but he's out there. He's running with the quarterbacks. It's a lot of read option stuff. He's mainly just a runner, but we've seen him throw a little bit of passes in some of the highlights that have been released. Where does he fit on this team? Was he ever going to be a serious option at quarterback? Maybe. Maybe not. Will you try to use him for special run packages? I mentioned all the read options that have been reported that Juwan Johnson has been running. Or, since Colin Hurley is back, you hope he's fully healthy. If he returns to full form, you'll have Garrett Nussmeier, Michael Van Buren, and Colin Hurley. That's 3 pretty good quarterbacks in that room. Do you move Juwan Johnson? We had Mike Scarborough on yesterday. He mentioned he would like to see Juwan Johnson a receiver. I think he could play there. I think he's athletic enough to do it. The problem with that is you already have so many receivers. I mean, you have too many receivers right now to get them all on the field. As good as Juwan Johnson could be in that spot, you're kind of getting lost in the shuffle there as well. I don't think you're going to move him back to running back because I mentioned, like, Caleb Jackson, if he stays here. You have Caden Durham coming back. Harlem Berry's here for the spring. You have JT Lindsay coming in the fall, another highly recruited freshman. That's a pretty good running back room. I don't think you're going to use Juwan Johnson there. Could you move him back to corner or nickel? Corner, no. With the combination of Mansour Delane, Ashton Stamps, DJ Pickett, Jakeem Jackson, I think you did a good job in the portal as well as high school recruiting, filling your needs at the cornerback position. But what about that star nickel role? I'd like to see it. Obviously, Harold Perkins is going to play that spot. But as I mentioned, last year in fall camp, Juwan Johnson was running with the twos at that star position. Could he be one of the backup spots for Harold Perkins in that spot? What if you want to move Harold Perkins around? What if you want to blitz him off the edge every now and then? You need somebody to come in and fill that nickel spot. Could Juwan Johnson do that? We haven't seen it in game action, but again, he was really good in fall camp last year. What about safety? Could Juwan Johnson play safety? Now, again, he played corner in high school along with quarterback. You recruited him as a corner. Could he make that move? Because as deep and as talented as we think this cornerback room can be, I still think there's a lot of question marks at safety. Look at what you have. You brought in Tamarcus Cooley. I think you should have brought in 2 guys. I love Deshaun Spears. I think he is just oozing with potential. He's 6'3", he's 210, he can cover a lot of ground. By all accounts, Javian Toviano looked really good in that open practice on Saturday. He's moving to safety. He played a lot of that in high school, but since he's been at LSU, this is really Javian Toviano's first time being a full-time safety. If you remember, out of necessity, you had to move him to corner 2 years ago under that Matt House defense because you had two freshmen playing. Remember, it was Ashton Stamps on one side, Javian Toviano on the other. And Toviano did some okay things. At times, he looked like a freshman. At times, you could kind of tell, hey, maybe this guy's playing out of position a little bit. Kind of halfway through last year, you decided, let's try him at safety a little bit. And then by the end of the year, Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, they were like, hey, we're going to move Javian Toviano to safety full time. But as far as off-season work goes, I get that Toviano's been on the team for 3 years now. This is really his first chance at LSU to play safety full time. I think that's his more natural position, but he's still kind of been out of that for 2 years now. So you have Cooley, who I think is going to be a starter. You have Deshaun Spears, who's still a young player, even though he played a good bit last year. You have Toviano, who's readjusting to the position. You have Joel Rogers currently. We'll see what his future holds in Baton Rouge. He didn't play a ton last year. I mean, you don't, and then outside of that, I mean, it's kind of a question mark, at least right now. There's not a ton of bodies at safety. Could you put Juwan Johnson at safety? As far as I know, it's a spot he's never played before. But I think Juwan Johnson is a talented enough athlete to where you have to find a spot for him. I get you had to move him to quarterback out of necessity. If Colin Hurley's back and fully healthy, you can't keep him at quarterback. You can still put him in there for, wildcat packages, read option, anything like that. But I think his full potential is getting wasted at the quarterback position. Kind of like it was at running back. Because if you remember, when he went in for John Emery, he scored a touchdown in that Nicholls State game. His first game playing running back. Everybody was really excited about it. After that, game 3 was against South Carolina. That was kind of the emergence of Caden Durham that we saw. You already had Josh Williams in the fold. He was your established back. Juwan Johnson kind of played less and less and less at the running back position as the season went along. He kind of got wasted there. So as talented of a guy as he is, he comes in last fall, working at that star position. After the first week of the season, he's immediately moved to running back. Played there a little bit last season. This spring, he's been working with the quarterbacks. And then now you're potentially moving him again. I hope they can find a spot for Juwan Johnson because I think he's talented and I think he can help this team. But you're moving him around so much, it's kind of hard to nail down one position for a guy like Juwan Johnson. I hope he sticks around because I think he's talented. I think he can help you in a number of ways. I just don't really think it's at the quarterback position. If Hurley's fully healthy. All of this depends on the health of Colin Hurley. Because again, he was back in Baton Rouge this weekend. That does not mean he is in practice shape. It definitely doesn't mean he's in game shape. It just appears to hopefully be a step in the right direction. So if Hurley returns to this team, along with Michael Van Buren and Garrett Nussmeier, what does that mean for the future of Juwan Johnson? We'll have to find out as they're about to wrap up spring. They'll get into summer workouts, fall camp. We'll see where Juwan Johnson lands on this football team. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, LSU Beach Volleyball coach Russell Brock's going to hop on with us. I went out there this weekend, had a heck of a time. We're going to talk to him a little bit. They got the CCSA Championship coming up April 25th and 26th. We'll talk about that a little bit and kind of how he's built up this LSU Beach Volleyball program. That's coming up on the other side here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We're going to keep rolling because, again, we got about 20 minutes left. Right now, we're going to go to the phone lines. We're going to be joined right now by LSU beach volleyball coach Russell Brock. Coach, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Couldn't be more excited to be on with you guys this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for Coach, full disclosure, the reason I wanted to have you on, I've been wanting to go to beach volleyball all year long. My schedule hadn't lined up. And me and my wife, we went out there Saturday for your 4:45 match against UNO. The atmosphere was incredible. I mean, it is an excellent game day atmosphere. So tell me, because, you've been at this program really since the start of it back in 2014. So, how has this program grown since you've been here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when we first started, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. So we had, a lot of indoor players. Thankfully, Coach Fran Flory at the time commissioned her indoor players to come out and help us for those first couple years, and they didn't know how to play beach, and so we had to do a lot of teaching, a lot of training, and they bought in, and since that time, even in the starting of recruiting, we were recruiting mostly indoor players who kind of dabbled in the beach, and we could see the possibility of their ability to play or to transition to our sport. And now we're recruiting beach-only players from all over the country, even outside the country. We have a ton of experience. We have a culture that's been established. We have a reputation around the country for how we play. And so it's a completely different animal. And the expectation initially is that we want to learn how to do this well. We want to make our community here in Baton Rouge and on the LSU campus proud of what we do and be a positive contribution. And now we feel like, we're one of the programs on campus that year in and year out is going to compete in the highest level, in the top 10, top 5, trying to win national championship and really push the envelope in the classroom. And that's the expectation. We want to be great in our community and be great for our school and be one of the programs in the country that people look to year in and year out to kind of carry the standard for how the sport can be played at the college level.
Coach Russell Brock joining us right now, LSU Beach Volleyball coach. Coach, I'm glad you brought that up about, we recruit beach-only players now, but, like, how does that work in recruiting? Like, I imagine it's got to be a little harder, right? Because while you're only recruiting beach volleyball players, like, not every high school program, like, has that. So, like, is it just a lot harder to find talent?
These days, as the sport has grown, I mean, we're probably 12, 13, 14 years into the sport at the NCAA level. It's really grown at the grassroots level. So it's not just in high school and even in other sports. High school you recruit to some degree, but the club level is really where you're looking to find the kids that are dedicated to the sport. And initially, when we first started, there weren't a lot of beach clubs. Now there are beach clubs all over the place, and our ability to recruit at national events where players from all over the country are coming to a local spot, and we get to watch people from all over the place play and recruit them out of their club environment, like a lot of the other sports, whether it's AAU or it's the indoor club scene for volleyball or softball, where they're doing travel ball, baseball, where you can find a high volume of that particular sport at the elite level, at the junior level, and recruit them all at the same time. It's kind of like that for us now as well. And so we, the beauty of it is probably most of the recruits that you're going to find at the top schools are going to be from California and Florida. That's just where they come from. Yeah. But if you roll down our lineup, I mean, you're talking about Massachusetts, Mississippi. We got Michigan, Ohio. We got Arizona. We got some Louisiana kids. We got a Canadian who's living in the Cayman Islands, Atlanta area. I mean, it's really, we're all over the place, and that's the beauty of the sport growing on a national level. At the club level, is that you're starting to get pockets all over the country where you've got really talented players that we can go and encourage to come down here to Louisiana and play in Baton Rouge.
So when me and my wife were out there Saturday, look, full disclosure, she had a great time because she used to play beach volleyball, obviously not in the high school or college level. Like, we had this little rec league out in Denham Springs where we're from, and, like, she had to play. It was a co-ed league. She got me to play, like, 2 or 3 years, and we had a blast. So, like, it's just kind of a sport that we followed, the last 2 or 3 years. But obviously your program, I mean, you've had a lot of success, right? You guys are in the thick of it every single year. We were out there Saturday, and, like, y'all made quick work of UNO. I mean, I think the whole thing lasted, like, 45 minutes, and we were like, oh, man, they're too good. Like, we wanted it to last a little bit longer. But, like, how does this team compare to some of your past great teams? Because, I mean, you have had an excellent program for a number of years. But, like, what's this year look like?
Yeah, and I'll speak really quickly to the 45-minute match time.
Yeah.
Typically, we try and do waves. So we'll play 2 rounds because when people make the effort to come out and play, we do want them to get a little more experience just watching the team. But because we were on a compressed time schedule, we ended up playing everybody all at once, which is why you got a little bit of a shorter window. But we do enjoy people coming out and spending, an hour and a half or a couple, depending upon the degree of competition in the match for one of our own competitions. So you don't always get that short burst because there's a lot going on for sure. Tell me again what the question
was.
So,
this team, like, you've had a bunch of great teams. Like, how is this one setting up for you? Like, you guys have had a pretty good season. Like, what is how does this team compare to some of these past great ones?
Yeah, I think that, this is one of the teams that coming into the year, we had a lot of turnover. And we've had that the last probably 3 years. It's been a similar story where we've had a lot of key pieces graduate. There's been a lot of turnover. We've been pretty young, either just young in the years they're in school or young in the lineup. And this year has been quite a bit like that. Even last year, we finished the season and we came in, I think we were 11 seed going into the tournament. And we felt like we had a great body of work and had beaten some really good teams, but we definitely built as the season went on and got better and better, and then obviously ended up finishing third at the national championship event. This year's kind of been the same thing. We a lot of people didn't know what we were going to be like. There was some kind of uncertainty on outside of our camp is, what LSU was going to be this year. They lost a lot of key components. And we're starting, a bunch of young kids, freshmen and first-year starters and sophomores in their second year of starting. We really don't have a lot of that, upperclassmen, 3-4 year starters who've been in the lineup and you know what you're going to get out of. And because of that, nobody really kind of knew we were going to be. And we've done the same thing. We started out without a lot. We had a pretty light schedule coming in, and we built up a good record. And then we hit a stretch where we played 4 weekends in a row where we didn't play anybody outside the top 20. And during that stretch, we were able to really prove that we were dangerous. We could play the game. These young kids had the ability to grow quickly and to learn. And we kind of firmly established ourselves as a top team in the country again. Outside, we always knew that we were that good, but you have to prove it every year, year in and year out. And so we had a really good stretch, and now we finished on a little run at home and feel great about where we are heading into the conference tournament, and then, getting our bid to the national championship and making another really good run as a team that, people don't want to play at this time of year.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was kind of my next question. So the CCSA championship's coming up next weekend, if I'm correct. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so there's 4 of you, right? It's you, Texas, South Carolina, and Florida State. Do you have a seeding for that tournament yet? Like, what seed are you guys? I know y'all are hosting.
Yeah, it won't be. The seedings aren't out yet.
Okay.
It's a really interesting. This is the last year of the CCSA, and it'll dissolve, and then we're moving into the MPSF, which is a really big conference out West Coast. A lot of the Pac-12 teams, once the Pac-12 dissolved, kind of moved into that conference. And so they're going to actually oversee the seeding process. And after we finish this weekend, we don't play, but several of the teams do. And they'll look at the body of work and they'll seed the tournament. I would assume we would probably be 2 or 3, which obviously would give us the same matchup no matter who we are. And then it's a double elimination format with 4 teams over 2 days. And everybody in the tournament is dangerous. Us and Texas and Florida State are all top 10 ranked teams. And South Carolina is year in and year out one of those teams that comes in and has a lot of athletes and can make a run at any point in time. So we expect it to be really exciting, a lot of fun, and really competitive. And, being the last year of the conference, definitely something that we all want to go out with that last championship.
Now, Coach, the NCAA championship coming up in May in Gulf Shores, which personally I think is just the perfect spot to have that. But how do you guys qualify for that? Like, do you have to win this CCSA to get in? Like, is that how the qualifying works?
No, it's there are automatic bids, and then there are at-large qualifications as well. Our conference, because just of how it's played out, we've lost some members because other conferences have started beach volleyball within their own conference. So the people that were in the CCSA went to join their actual school conferences. So as we've kind of dwindled down, which has led to us actually after this year eliminating the conference altogether, our conference doesn't have an automatic bid. The MPSF, which I spoke about that we're joining next year, doesn't have one. The Big 12, which has a lot of the Big 12 added in some of the Pac-12 teams that moved over to that conference. They don't have an automatic qualifier as well. So there's not as many automatics as there has been in past years. So there'll be more at-large bids to fill the 16-team field. So I'm guessing, I haven't actually done the math yet, but I'm guessing there's probably like 7 conferences that'll get automatic bids, which will push like 9 of those. It'll be either 8 and 8 or 8 or 7 and 9 for the at-large bids. And there's a committee that looks at body of work, looks at quality wins, looks at your losses and head-to-head, all those metrics to decide who gets in the field and then how you rank, how you seed those within the tournament.
Now, Coach, you guys are obviously hosting this. I'm assuming it's just open to the public like every other tournament. Like, what can fans expect when they make it out there?
Yep, that's correct. They can come out like you experienced. We're going to have music playing. There's going to be lots of action going on. It will be, because it's a smaller field. I mean, we hosted 9 teams, I think, last weekend. So it was high volume, lots going on. Because it's only 4 teams, it'll be pretty regimented as far as the times, and there'll be some gaps in between. So it'll be a little more slow pace. And we'll also play, like I mentioned earlier, in the 2 rounds. So every time you show up, the first round of matchups you'll see play will be the 2, 4, 6 seeds or flights. And then when those finish, you'll see the 1, 3, and 5 flights compete. So you'll be able to kind of keep track of who's playing, where the flow of the match is going. You obviously have to win 3 of the 5 flights that count to win the duel is what it's called. So you'll be able to see on the big scoreboard, like who's got wins and how each court is going and where to focus your attention as the match gets tight and close. And then, when it's really fun, then it all comes down to one court, and whoever wins that court will win the duel and advance, and whoever loses will either be out or move into that loser's bracket to compete again.
Coach Russell Brock, LSU Beach Volleyball coach. Coach, thanks so much for hopping on with us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. That was Coach Russell Brock. Guys, I went out there to beach volleyball on Saturday. One of the best in-person environments on campus. Get out there and check it out. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, close out the show like we do every day with a little bit of Ask the Bench.
Off the bench.
Baton Rouge is home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Bend Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. We're going to close out the show like we do every day with some Ask the Bench. And I told you guys there's a little bit of technical difficulties. Alondra and Jordan's mics are not working, so you heard her yell. She said, Alondra can't turn the mics on. So it's funny. She cannot turn those on. This one cannot turn off. So we're having to be completely silent during break. We know Jordan likes to yell certain things during break, so we wanted to make sure we kept it age appropriate for everyone. But it's going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to kind of rock through a solo Ask the Bench. So Ask the Bench. First question comes in from Nookie. If Nico ends up at ULL, who won the battle? Well, obviously I'm going to say Tennessee, because here's why. It's not because Tennessee has some great quarterback behind them. Tennessee will probably struggle. I was going to say, well, it depends on who Tennessee's quarterback is. But if Nico's end game was to make as much money as he possibly could at a team that can compete for a national title, I don't think he's going to get any of those at a school like ULL. They're not going to have quite the money just because they're a smaller school, and they're not going to compete for a national title. So if you say, well, Nico didn't reach his ultimate goal, well, then Tennessee won that battle, even if their quarterback might not be quite as good. Ask the Bench, are you going to watch the Zydeco live stream at 6:30 tonight? I will not be, because I'll be tuning into LSU Baseball. But I'll tell you what, if you guys got a chance to go to a Baton Rouge Zydeco game, shockingly enough, Brad, the Zydeco guy in our YouTube chat, actually gave me the Zydeco puck that you can see right here. I met him at the game. He gave me the puck. He's like, hey, you want to add it to the desk? Zydeco is one of the funnest events in Baton Rouge. It's family friendly. Tickets are only about $10 a person. I mean, you can't beat it. It is electric. There's constant action going on. They do a really good job in between periods of keeping fans engaged. They do like interviews in the crowd between games. It's a great time. So while I won't be watching the live stream, if you got a chance to make it out there, certainly get out there and check out a Baton Rouge Zydeco game. Ask the Bench, who has the worst and best food takes in this chat? I haven't seen a lot of food takes in this chat. I haven't seen anything. I mean, I know that in this building, I hate to give my guy credit. T-Bob's got some pretty good taste in food. Despite the meat vending machine, I don't want that. But as far as like cooking, from what I know, T-Bob makes a pretty good gumbo. But as far as in the chat, I'm not sure. Ask the Bench, are you pro memes or no? Absolutely, I'm pro memes. Memes are great. I was saying yesterday, weekend winner could be the people trying to make memes out of Scotty Scheffler sitting in the magnolia tree on 18 on Friday, trying to decide what he wanted to do with the ball that he hit there. I got to be honest. If it's you, if it's somebody else, whoever makes memes, you should be disappointed in yourself. The lack of Scotty Scheffler memes that I have seen with him sitting cross-legged in the magnolia tree, it's shocking and it's upsetting. I wanted to see more Scotty Scheffler memes over the weekend, but I'm pro meme. Anything that's going to make me laugh and, just kind of take your mind off of the more serious things and just have a good time, I am all for. Ask the Bench, is pimento cheese overrated? I think it's properly rated. I mean, do I love pimento cheese? No, I'll eat it. However, I don't hear a lot of people like hyping up pimento cheese big time. I know that it's kind of the famous thing at the Masters, but I mean, so is an egg salad sandwich. I think that's properly rated. And look, the reason everything is hyped up at the Masters, one, it's the Masters. Two, everything's cheap. I saw yesterday, if I was to go to the concession stand at the Masters, buy everything on the menu, it would cost me $77. I mean, that's quite the bargain right there. I mean, you know how much I can eat everything on that menu? It's only $77. So I think that's part of the allure. I don't think it's the pimento itself. I think it's just you're at the Masters, and it's such a big deal that you're actually there. So Ask the Bench, best use of a banana raw or mixed into things. Guys, this has to be banana pudding. I mean, one of these signature Southern desserts. I love banana pudding. My mother makes a great one. But banana pudding, I feel like, is one of those places, if you're going, you want to get a dessert, you see banana pudding on the menu, you don't even think twice about it. You know it's going to be good. It might be a little bit different than the banana pudding you're used to. But I say it with pizza all the time. I'll say it with banana pudding too. Even the worst pizza and banana pudding is still pretty good, and I'm still going to eat it. So I think that easily banana pudding. I do like banana splits, but banana pudding, one of my favorite things on this earth. All right, guys, we only got about a minute left. Giving you a quick recap of what went on today. We led with David Griffin getting fired by the New Orleans Pelicans. That was news that happened yesterday afternoon. It is being reported that Pelicans are closing in on Joe Dumars. I kind of expect that pretty soon. Sham Shanaria, actually 30 minutes ago, mentioned that Hall of Famer Joe Dumars, got the tweet right here, working on finalizing a deal as we speak to become the next VP of basketball operations with the New Orleans Pelicans. So I expect by the end of the day today that will be done, because Shams believes that it is almost done as we sit here. We had LSU Beach volleyball coach Russell Brock hopped on, had a really good interview with him, learned a little bit more about that program. Nick Underhill of NewOrleans.football hopped on at 9 a.m. Tomorrow, pretty busy. We're going to have Zach Nagy tomorrow. We're actually going to get somebody on with Pelicans, talk the future of that franchise as well. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, same time, same place, Wednesday edition of Off the Bench.
Off the Bench.
There it is, the extra.